See the two officers in, I still see the two officers in
That's
attendees.
okay, Lenny.
Sometimes we can, sometimes they'll move over, sometimes they won't. It just depends.
We can-
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and call the meeting to order. Today's Wednesday, May 11th at 7:00 p.m. I'd like to get the meeting done without us being here very late. So the recording has started, and I'm going to call the meeting to order. This year, we are celebrating our 19th year as a certified neighborhood council. I think Cindy wanted to speak on that. Cindy, did you have something you wanted to say? I don't hear her saying anything. Okay. Thank you to the volunteers for the Verdugo Hills Cemetery Centennial Restoration. Cheryl, if you'd like to go ahead and start the photos, and Karen, did you have stuff you wanted to say about it?
Well, I'm just gonna kind of narrate it
Okay.
as I see it. But I will start by saying this was the Verdugo Hills Cemetery Centennial Celebration. It was held on April 23rd, 2022. Cheryl can start anytime she wants, but Senator Portantino did attend and presented a certification, I should say, of commentation. No. Anyway,
Commendation.
yes, thank you. And what we'll be seeing here are pictures of the tours that were featuring our very own Pat Kramer. Let's see if I can see the screen here. There's our table. And thank you to everybody who came. There's Lala and myself and Ed. And here's a tour. It was a pretty good turnout. I don't know that we got a final head count, but I would say it was 250 people came and went at least. And that's the memorial, the end of the memorial, the Veterans Memorial. And there's Craig doing it's going faster than I can talk. But Craig was doing the tours. And like I said, Pat Kramer, one of our own, was the wife of the pastor. And there we see some of the Veterans Memorial. We call it the Soldier Stairway. And there's a group of us of the STNC. More tours. Craig did a great job and all the volunteers were wonderful. There's Ed. There's Pat on the left.
And Joe DeCenso.
Yeah, thank you. And then that was the picture of the bricks and that passed. And there we go with the Veterans Memorial. This is the STNC presenting Craig with a certification of appreciation. And some of that was the art exhibit of the old flagpole that was at Little Landers. And we just switched by Anthony Portantino. There he is. A very beautiful spot. Look at that view. It was a great time. And Joselito served appetizers. It was wonderful. And all in all, it was 100% success.
That's great. Thank you guys very much. Appreciate it. Appreciate all your hard work. And I know Karen and everybody, I mean, we had a lot of board members there. I would say a majority of our board members were there. Cheryl and Karen started out the morning, I believe, and then some of us came later in the evening, but we did have most of our board members there. Let's go ahead. I see Cindy's hand is up. Cindy, did you want to speak to the 19th year of the STNC?
Thank you very much, Lydia. I apologize. I couldn't find the
That's okay.
microphone to push. Yes, this month marks the 19th year for the Sunland-Tujunga Neighborhood Council. We were certified in 2003, and it is great to see so many who have participated as board members, who have participated as volunteers on various committees, and who have participated as stakeholders in our community to improve the quality of life in Sunland-Tujunga. So congratulate yourselves for 19 great years. I was there the day that we were certified, and you know, like things happen, we had a competing application at the same time. So, but we survived and we worked together. The other group that wanted to be certified they subsequently worked together with us for many, many years. And it's great to see what has been accomplished through the years. So I just wanted to remind you of the 19 years, and hopefully we can really, really celebrate our 20th year coming up next year. Thank you.
Thank you, Cindy. I'd like to go to the coffee with the STNC. Karen, did you want to speak to that?
Yes, it was a great success. Even though we didn't do as much advertising as we could have, we made contact with at least 25 people and gained 20 more people who are on our email list as well. And actually, we engaged in some pretty good conversation. Folks who did know what the STNC is and others that aren't, and people that just recently moved here, as well as old timers. So it was a great day. I think we should continue.
Okay, thank you so much. So for board members, we will be setting these up monthly, and it just gives the community an opportunity to come in and have a cup of coffee with us, whichever board members can make it. So Karen, do you have a date for the next event?
Not yet.
Okay. So she'll send it out to the board members in an email. And then the item D, 4th of July parade. The 4th of July parade is coming. We're very excited. The Rotary is putting it on. I did want to let you know we did have a special agenda item tonight for the 4th of July parade. That special meeting, I'm not going to call to order because we've been asked by the city attorney to hold off on it. It was in regards to some funding for the Rotary Club. There was a glitch, and our NPG for the Rotary Club was kicked back, and it wasn't funded. So we are working with the city attorney and the funding department to try to get that straightened out. So we were going to try to take another vote on that tonight for outreach, but the city attorney's asked us to hold off. We may have to have a special meeting in the next week or so anyway to address funding items and issues that'll come up so we can meet our fiscal year deadlines. Cindy, did you have any other comment to make on that?
No, you handled it very well. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. And Karen, did you have an update on that?
Not an update, just a question.
Mm-hmm.
I know that there are 2 dates that we have to remember, one for submittal and the last day to pay. Excuse me, maybe Ed can address that, because those are really important dates.
Yeah, let's wait down until we get to the funding stuff, and then we'll have him go over those dates. Thank you. Okay, and then National Night Out, August 2nd, Little Landers Park. We are putting together the plans to do National Night Out. And again, you'll receive more information from Karen as we get more information. But everyone that can attend the outreach committee meetings, at least one person from every region, we need to help plan that and put it together. Any update on that, Karen, from you?
No, we're kind of at a stall right now.
Okay, so then moving on to roll call. Carol, could you please call the roll?
All right. If everybody could unmute. Thank you. Lydia Grant,
Here.
Lala Rowe,
Here.
Karen Purdue,
Here,
Ed Babakanian,
Here.
and Carol Hutchinson is here. Lenny Freeman,
Here.
Katie Travers,
Here.
Trevor Schmidt,
Here.
Claire Gordon,
Here.
John Van Gunten. I know I saw him. I'll come back, John. Karen Moran,
Here.
Belinda Woodruff. Belinda Woodruff. Okay, I'll come back. Cheryl Smith,
Here.
Michelle Wadler. Michelle Wadler.
She has COVID and is quite ill.
Okay, so she's absent.
Yes.
That's all we need. Okay, Shirley Kim. She absent also? Wow,
I
okay,
did not hear from Shirley.
okay. Chris Rowe,
Here.
Nina Royal,
Here.
Cindy Claycorn,
Present.
and Mark Siegel.
He's running late. He'll be here.
Okay, so he's absent at roll call. So let's go back. John, I know I saw your name. You here? Did we lose John? I
I
see.
don't see him. I see he's here. He may have stepped away.
I keep trying to unmute him and it's not working. So I don't know. And all right, and then try again for Belinda Woodruff. So no, all right. Well. Okay, I've got 14 that have responded.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right.
We are good. We have quorum. 11 is quorum. Okay, and now, moving on, let's see.
Pledge of Allegiance.
Yes. No, we have item B, announcement of vacant board seats. We have 2 stakeholder group representative seats still available. If we do not fill those positions and the new bylaws are approved, then we can actually choose some of the new seats we created to fill into the new positions. So just letting everybody know. And moving on to Pledge of Allegiance. Lenny, would you like to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I certainly will.
Thank you.
Okay, sit up straight, hands over your hearts. I pledge allegiance
To the
to
flag
the flag
Of the
of the
United
United
States of
States
America,
of America, and to the republic
for which it
for which it
stands,
stands,
one
one
nation,
nation,
indivisible,
under God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
justice.
with
liberty and
liberty
justice for all.
for all.
Thank you very much. Okay. And then comments from LAPD and elected officials. I saw Officer Koloka. Hold on one moment. Officer Koloka, if you would like to go ahead and speak.
Hi,
There she is. Thank you.
good evening, everybody. Officer Kaloka, Senior Lead Officer for Tujunga. And actually, today, Officer Potter is also stuck with me. We're still working today, so both of us are on the same call. As far as the Tujunga area, I have an overall 30% decrease in Part 1 crime. My only and most importantly, in my eyes, increase is going to be on violent crime. I have a 61% increase. That number is relative, which actually it totals to 11 more crimes, one too many in my actually 11 more crimes in my eyes that shouldn't be happening. As far as anything of quality of life issues that we're dealing with, I know most of you guys are looking forward to the May 15 deadline for the towing to resume. However, we have not received anything as of right now, 7/13, from our commanding officers down the line regarding the protocol that we're going to be following. So far that is only applying to Department of Transportation. I don't know exactly how they're gonna go about it, other than what I've read, and I'm sure you guys have read on the council file. So that's where we at right now in regards to that. And I know some of you guys, for those of you guys that have been looking at the Vallejo encampment that I had, my special project, it's looking cleaner. I only have one of the vehicles that remains in that vicinity. The other ones have been moved around the area, which I knew what was going to be happening, and I'm still conducting follow-ups to the location. And that's pretty much all I have. If you guys have any questions for me, you guys have my contact information, and I'll be passing the phone to Officer Potter.
Thank you, Officer Coloca. Hi, everyone. This is Officer Potter. I got the our stats for the month and or for the week, and it looks like we actually went up by 26.3%. Where we are getting killed is on burglary from motor vehicles. We have an increase of 68.2%. What that means is that last year we had 44 incidents versus this year, which is 74. So there's a difference of 30. Unfortunately, I know we pass the word, please lock your doors, please lock your car doors. But unfortunately, the suspects still can get into your car. But please continue to pass on the word. On my end, I'm telling officers to continue extra patrol, try to be visible, and especially at night, where there's a couple, I've gotten a couple complaints from different people that, burglary from motor vehicles are happening in their area. So I am sending my officers to those particular areas. Like Officer Coloca mentioned regarding the RVs, unfortunately, we're still not going to be impounding RVs starting May 15th. However, just one great news for us, for me actually, is that I was able to impound the RV on Grove in Ora Vista. And the only reason I was able to impound that vehicle, that RV, is because we monitored for about 2 months. And at one point it was determined that it was abandoned. There was nobody coming in, nobody was staying there. So it was no longer a dwelling, but it was an abandoned vehicle. So that's how I was able to get that RV out of the way. Last night we worked, Officer Coloca and I worked with park rangers for Sunland Park. We went at night and cited people for being there after hours, and cited one person for having a tent. Right now, I only have one tent at the park, one too many, but we're still working on that. Besides that, we're good on everything else. I don't know if anybody else has questions. Anybody have any questions for me?
Hold on one moment. Yeah, I do see a couple of questions. Cheryl, go ahead.
Yes, this is for Officer Coloca. The RV that's on Vallejo, it's the one that has some colorful language posters he puts up, or signs. I saw him last week with a chainsaw. He came out of his RV, and I don't know who he was yelling at, but it was menacing and directed at somebody. But just wanted to let you know that, but I did turn the other way and didn't go towards the chainsaw, but just wanted to let you guys know.
Thank you so much. When that happens, that is exactly when a call should be placed for dispatch.
Oh, I didn't know. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine. And that goes so that people understand. It doesn't necessarily have to be directed towards you. But I mean, if somebody's coming out with a chainsaw and they're appearing to be yelling at somebody, I mean, we don't have to, wait to verify that, for an actual violent crime to occur. I mean, in my eyes, that's enough for an officer to respond over there and figure out what's going on before something actually happens. So in the future, yes, that, to me, that would be a call to dispatch on the spot. So
okay,
and you
yeah,
can just say, hey, I was just passing by. This is what I saw. This is what I heard. And then they'll determine, dispatch will determine at what point, whether it's going to be a lights and siren radar call, or whether it's going to be a different code.
Okay, yeah, it was last Thursday at 6:30 p.m. Thank
Okay,
you.
I'll look for it and see if anybody else might have called, but I haven't heard of any call being placed regarding that vehicle yet, or that incident. But thank you.
Thank you. Kathleen Travers?
This is for Officer Potter. The motorhome that is still parked on Sherman Grove that, as you said, because it's being used as residence, there's nothing you can do about it. But I was just wondering if you'd noticed that that one of the people living there appears to be operating some sort of chop shop for motorcycles and bicycles. I've seen as many as 6 different motorcycles there at a time, and not visitors. They're half apart, or some of them are covered up, or things like that.
Yes, we've actually been out there, and so 2 things. Yes, I've seen the motorcycles, but unfortunately, the gentleman that I know is working on those motorcycles, I've never actually seen him work on them. I've never been able to catch him in the middle of fixing up the motorcycles. I've told him that if I ever catch him, then he's going to be cited, which is a pretty hefty cite. So, but you know, no matter which way I've come, I've never caught him. Like I said, I know who it is, but I can't cite him if I actually don't observe the violation. So one of the things we're kind of still working with that. I mean, we're just giving it legally citations for expired registrations, for 72-hour holds. I'm sorry, for being there for more than 72 hours. And if I see any other violation, of course, like I said, like the motorcycle thing, I know that they're doing it there, but I've never seen it, so I can't give them a ticket. So I'm hoping that if they continue to see my presence, that hopefully they'll go away. I have a feeling they might be, but I don't know. I thought for a second that I was gonna have something on that RV where I was gonna be able to impound. However, I wasn't able to get it done. So obviously I'm not gonna violate anyone's rights or do anything that is not legal, or so unfortunately I can't move that RV. But like I said, legally we're going out there at 4 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, or during the day, and we just give them tickets for expired registration and the 72-hour violation.
Thank you so much for your diligence.
Just one more thing I wanted to add. I know lately, Officer Potter and this is Officer Caloca, lately both of us have been going out there and handling some of those issues in our area. It's a little bit different when both of us work together, because we can go ahead and be a little more proactive when we have some vehicles that, where multiple people are inside. And just so you guys know, we're already starting also to spread the word regarding the moratorium being lifted soon. Obviously, on our end, we don't know exactly when soon is, but that way, if we start getting the word out, at least this is, how we feel, and I'm speaking for Officer Potter this one too. That way, it's not going to be a surprise when it actually does happen, and we're able to go ahead and resume the impound. However, I also want to bring up, it's not going to be an overnight thing due to where the vehicles are going to be stored. We only have, so far as of right now, there's only one company that's towing. Once again, we're waiting for protocols from the department, because we believe there might be other tow companies that might be able to assist us with that. So keeping that in mind, I wish we could be a little more patient, because I don't know for you guys, but the department does work a little slower. The city does. So even though the May 15 deadline's coming up, it might be a little bit longer. So, but as soon as we find out when we're going to be resuming, we'll be more than happy to let you guys know ASAP.
And one more thing, sorry about that. So regarding exactly what Officer Caloca said, it's only one company that has a contract with the city. So for my RV that I had on Grove and Vista, I made when I called, because I thought, okay, I'm gonna impound it, and I called and they're like, no, you have to make an appointment. I'm like, okay, so I figured it was gonna be a couple of days. No, it was literally 5.5 weeks, and My appointment was for May 10th at 10 a.m. And Officer Kaloka told me, make sure you call to make sure that they don't cancel on you. So when I called, sure enough, they try to cancel me. They're like, how about we come back tomorrow or another time? And we kind of went back and forth. And at the end, we compromised for May 10th at 1 o'clock instead of, moving to a different day. Cause I definitely did not want that RV to be there one more day. So I can imagine that once this thing passes, I know that they're going to be overwhelmed because obviously the Valley is not the only one that's out there, especially the South End. I have a feeling it's going to be a nightmare. So I don't know if they're going to open another contract or what it is, but just so you know, right now that it's almost impossible to impound an RV. It took me 5 weeks to impound that RV that I could legally impound. So I don't know the delay that's going to be when everybody is going to try to impound, 30, 40, 50 RVs the same day. So again, just be patient. And that's it.
Thank you. We still have a couple more hands up. I believe it's Carol whose hands up.
In the board?
Yeah, I guess yours isn't. I have Sunland-Tujunga Neighborhood Council up.
One is Joe DeCenzo,
Hey,
and
Joe.
but there is another one with the same Sunland-Tujunga Neighborhood Council. Forgive me, I can't find the tab to change my name, but this is for whichever officer can address what the actual distance ordinance is regarding tents in proximity to the public parks. We have a tent is returned on Foothill Boulevard, very close to the intersection of Foothill and Sunland, and it is blocking the public thoroughfare. And I'm just curious if you're able to enforce or not.
Yes, I mean, we've seen it. We actually have done. We're gonna actually go out there tonight and just kind of talk to the person and have him move. And we want to be able to give him resources that we have to see if he can move. I know that he came back and now sometimes he is blocking the street and sometimes he's not. I know we were there yesterday and there was actually enough room to have a wheelchair pass through. So,
Yeah,
I just
forgive me, what is the order? Is it 500 feet by a park? How far away from a park do they need to be?
I believe it's 500.
Okay,
Right,
well,
it is 500 feet. However, there's also with the ordinance, we also got to make sure that it gets documented that they've been offered services. So that's the other thing that we got to make sure, because it's one thing for us to just go ahead and cite, and if the site is, I want to make sure that if somebody does want the outreach, that it is provided for them.
thank you.
Because we do have some people that do want it, and unfortunately there's a long waiting list, and some people who don't want it. Now, if we go there and they say, no, I don't want it, then at that point we can move into enforcement mode.
I understand.
Okay, thank you. Cindy, go ahead. Cindy, did you have a question for the officers? Okay, I'm going to go out to the attendees and then we need to wrap this up so we can get on with the meeting. Patty Potter, go ahead.
Cindy, we're in for a big windstorm.
I would just like to, if somebody could
All my pencils
give
blow
me
right in
the
floor.
website to report a crime on the web. There's a couple of them out there and I get confused and some of them say they're no good. What is the actual website? Because they say you need to do it online now.
There's some reports. It's through the if you just type in on the Google search LAPD CORS.
CORS?
Correct. Charles Ocean Robert Sam.
Okay.
And it will pop up. It's under the LAPD.online.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. And Alyssa, did you have a question for the officers?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, sorry about that. Yes, I have a question. I don't know what officer can answer, but I've been campaigning and door knocking in small businesses in Sunland-Tujunga, And on Sunland Boulevard, there's a Michoacano, and they're brand new owners there. There's it's 3 women, and they said that someone's broke into their ice cream shop 3 times and actually stole money from the register. And is there any way any of you officers, because they don't know who to contact or anything, they said they had called 911. So is there any way that you guys can reach out to them? I did tell them, to reach out to you guys, but also it's very important for them to be connected with the neighborhood council. They were talking about that, they don't really have customers right now. And I told them that it would be great if they would get in contact with the neighborhood council and maybe invite you guys to have meetings there. They said they would love to have you guys there. That's all I had to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
No problem. On that one, it is La Michoacana, which is on Foothill and Marcus, no, Pinewood.
Yes.
Pinewood, correct. So before COVID, I had reached out to them. They got my business cards. I spoke to a gentleman who I believe was the owner, because he owns another business in the vicinity too. Yes, they have been broken in. And one of the things for any business owner that might be listening to this call, one of the things that we bring up, because a lot of the times they break in hopes to find some cash in the register, because a lot of businesses leave the register ready to go for the next morning with, it might be $10, $15, however much. So one of the things that we have brought up in the past to several businesses, leave the register open to make sure there's nothing in there. That way they see, and if maybe if they have broken into one location, at one point, and then they see that there's no money, they're gonna know that right away there's gonna be no money. We had a business up on in the Lakeview Terrace area a couple of years ago that they got broken into. I don't even remember how many times, but we addressed the issue and they continued to leave money ready. So they knew it was going to be $10, $15, however much. And for them, it was worth it to go ahead and break a window for whoever was doing it. I will do some follow-up. Like I said, I had done it before. I don't have a problem doing it again. I don't know as far as having any meetings there. I will go ahead and visit that and when I speak to them, and we can go from there at that point. But if they are listening right now, my information should be posted, and it's in my area, so I'm not going to offer Officer Potters, but so yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you guys very much. And now I would like to call on, let me see, I know he had his hand up. Jason Maruka had his hand up. Jason, go ahead.
Oh, I was just here to give my report for Supervisor Barger's office.
That's okay. We're on officials' comments. LAPD was first, so you can go next.
Okay. All right. I will go ahead then. I'll try to keep it short and sweet. Congratulations on your 19th anniversary. I know the supervisor looks forward to celebrating your 20th, and hopefully we'll all be back in person for everything. Couple updates. One update from the board. Last Tuesday, the supervisors approved Supervisor Barger's motion to implement the Blue Ribbon Commission on Homelessness's recommendations. So these recommendations were based off of a 6-month review by the Blue Ribbon Commission that was created by the supervisor back in July. So just a quick recap, that commission engaged with a broad spectrum of stakeholders, service providers, cities, persons experiencing homelessness. So the supervisor was very impressed with the commission and their collaborative approach to engaging all the stakeholders and trying to find a unified mission to combating homelessness. Just a few weeks ago, just to kind of make the point of what was going on, the County Department of Public Health released their 3rd annual mortality rates of the homeless. The report found that 1,988 people experiencing homelessness died in the county last year. So that's a 56% increase in the amount of homeless deaths compared to the prior year. So that number is it's heart-wrenching to see, and it's really unacceptable. And it's another reminder that we must change what we're doing or not doing to help the most vulnerable who are out on the streets. So, you know, the supervisor sees this as a call to action and really kind of specifically about creating clearer lines of responsibility. So what the motion did is kind of three main things. First, it's going to be bringing LAHSA back to its pre-Measure H role. And that means transitioning from a direct service provider. So they're going to transition away from that and then be more of an agency that's focused on ensuring federal funding opportunities that are aligned with state and local priorities. Next, creating a local solutions fund through Measure H, which we can utilize to partner with our cities that are ready to implement their own homeless housing and service plans. And then finally, creating a county department that will offer flexible solutions for those experiencing homelessness, and, you know, meeting them where they are to help them heal. You know, this department is really going to be geared towards coordinating, unifying the various county departments, departmental health, health services, public health, social services, almost kind of based off of the Office of Emergency Management that the county has. And again, this department would be directly accountable to the Board of Supervisors. So just to kind of wrap this up, you know, the supervisor feels strongly that we need one point of responsibility. Our current systems and structures do not have clear lines of responsibility and accountability. And she feels that the motion that we passed off of the Blue Ribbon Commission's recommendations are a pathway to do exactly that. So we'll be hearing more about that in the next 90 days. There's a report back that's going to start talking about what that department would look like and the responsibilities. So I look forward to bringing that back to you and talking more about it. So with that, I just have one more quick update. We are hosting a tribute to veterans and military families on Saturday, May 28th. I believe I sent over the flyer to you, Lydia. It's going to be at Arcadia County Park from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Admission and parking is free. So we hope to see you all there. And that's my report. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't remember getting that email. So if you could please send it to me again.
I will resend it right after this meeting.
You're
or after
awesome.
I'm done talking.
Thank you. Are you done?
Yeah, that's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Declan Floyd, go ahead.
I have a question. This is Cindy.
Oh, I'm sorry, Cindy, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. This is a question for Jason. I'm not sure you can answer it, but being on the county supervisor's seat, I hear that there are containers that are not getting out or whatever. Do you have any information with regards to that? Or can you assist with that in any regard?
What do you mean containers?
Containers that are empty, that are not getting back across the world.
Oh, at the port.
Shipping containers.
Yes, that's correct.
I don't know how much jurisdiction the county has over that. I know that it's been something that the Port of LA and the Port of Long Beach have been looking to kind of clear that jam. I'll reach out and circle back with you, Cindy, and just kind of tell you what the county's responsibility is and what we know about the ongoing logistical issues down there.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I think there's a couple more questions. Kathleen Travers.
Yes, Jason. I have talked with our council member's office with Monica Rodriguez and her staff about one homelessness solution. You were talking about these various less obvious solutions, flexible solutions. And I know that one thing that worked very, very well in this district is an RV park for the homeless who have RVs but need hookups for water and sewage and a security guard to allow them to feel safe. Something like the lots that you use when you go camping someplace and there's an RV park. The RV set up here in Council District 7 was very, very successful. And the reason that they weren't able to offer more of that is because there are no other lots available for that sort of setup in CD7. And I was wondering if that was one of the possible solutions that had been presented by your Blue Ribbon panel, and if there's any way that that your office could look into that, since it had been very successful here in CD7, and I think also in somewhere in the West Valley.
Yeah, I'm not sure if the Blue Ribbon Commission talked about very specific kind of outreach proposals. It was really kind of more on the governance and how our different systems are working together or are not working together. I have talked with Councilman Rodriguez's office about looking at the RVs. The largest challenge, especially in that area is land, is where you can put one immediately around there. So that's really been the ongoing obstacle to looking at that, but it's something that we continue to discuss with the councilwoman's office.
Glad to hear it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Cindy, you've already spoken, right? Can I lower your hand?
Yes, please.
Okay. Okay, and I think I see two hands up. Hold on one second. Okay. Declan, go ahead.
Oh, never heard.
I'm sorry, Declan, I gotta let you talk. Okay.
Thank you. Okay, if there was another question for Jason first, they can go ahead and then I can give my report.
I don't see another question.
Wait, he's trying to. Oh my God. Oh my
So Declan, go ahead.
Okay, all right, thank you. Well, first, congratulations on 19 years. The senator is very happy to represent the Sunland-Tujunga community up in Sacramento, and he was also thrilled to be able to celebrate the 100th anniversary of the Verdugo Hills Cemetery with a Senate resolution. That was a great event. I was there, got to see a lot of you, so that was a really nice time. So thank you to everyone who put that together. Legislatively, this month, at the end of May, is what's called the House of Origin deadline, meaning all the bills written by senators have to be out of the Senate and onto the Assembly. So it's a very busy time up in Sacramento for Senator Portantino. Of note, all of his bills are moving through the process, but particularly SB 986, which is his catalytic converter bill, has received widespread support from law enforcement as well as the general community. That made it through the business and professions as well as public safety committees without any opposition. So that is now in the Appropriations Committee, of which Senator Portantino is the chair. So we feel pretty good about its chances to get to the Senate floor, as well as his noise camera bill, SB 1079, which will allow municipalities to implement noise cameras to go after people who are, basically racing down Foothill at night with additions to their cars that make them louder. So that made it through the Transportation and Judiciary Committees and is eligible to be taken up on the Senate floor at any time. So all of his bills are moving through the process, and we look forward to hopefully having a report next month about all the bills that pass through the Senate. So as always, anything that we can do for you from the state level, please let me know, and I'm happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't see any questions at this time. Thank you so much. And then moving on to, I know I see the hand up. I see two, Eve Sinclair, go ahead. Eve, go ahead, please.
Oh, hello. I just got unmuted. Thank you. My name is Eve Sinclair, and I work as the area director for Councilwoman Monica Rodriguez here in Council District 7. I handle the areas of Sunland-Tujunga, Shadow Hills, Latuna, and Lakeview Terrace. And I'll go ahead and share my updates for this evening. I'll start with the most visible changes happening in the community this week, which is the implementation of traffic safety improvements. Last year, the LA Department of Transportation had selected Foothill Boulevard between Sherman Grove and Apperson, a stretch of road that has seen 8 people killed and 29 people severely injured between 2009 and 2019 as a Vision Zero priority corridor. This allowed additional funding and design improvements to be added to this stretch of street. So the LA DOT Vision engineers had attended a traffic safety pop-up at Sunland Park last August, where they took input from community members on different suggested improvements along the stretch. These suggestions influenced their designs, and they had also created a web page that includes both the proposed change, design drafts, and also an area for community members to share feedback. You can still go to this page today and make suggestions for future improvements on this stretch of road. And the LA DOT crews have been hard at work this week making phase 1 engineering improvements to Foothill in this stretch in order to lower the speeds and to reduce fatalities and serious injuries. So recently they added 13 new continental crosswalks to smaller streets that intersect with Foothill Boulevard to increase the pedestrian visibility and also to alert drivers to the probability of encountering pedestrians crossing the street. This week, crews are also adding green bike lane conflict markings installed where cars are going to turn right ahead or where buses are pulling over to bus stops and they have to drive across the existing bike lane to make their turn. These green markings alert the drivers that they should exercise caution and watch out for cyclists in this area. The majority of those killed or injured in these traffic collisions over the past 10 years are pedestrians, cyclists, and also in our area, motorcyclists and equestrians, as these vulnerable users don't have the protection of a vehicle around them with airbags and such. The crews also work to simplify the intersection of Foothill Boulevard and Summit Rose near the Rattler, where a lot of people have been making that left turn that's illegal across Foothill Boulevard. In addition to some of these changes that have been very noticeable, they've also instituted other traffic safety treatments with the goal to make it safer for all that use it, such as the new speed feedback signs located at Foothill and Floralita and Foothill and Apperson, the no right turn signage posted at Foothill and Apperson, edge line treatments at Foothill and Oro Vista and Foothill and Sherman Grove, as well as nighttime flashing lights. That's where the signals actually turn to a flashing yellow instead of solid green between the hours of 11 p.m. and 5 a.m. to caution drivers to slow. And also they have installed leading pedestrian intervals. So when somebody presses the button to cross the street, it actually gives them a head start before the signal for the cars in the same direction turns green. So that way pedestrians are well out into the crosswalk where they're visible before cars, start driving and possibly turning across the crosswalk. There are many other traffic safety improvements that are on the way to Sunland-Tujunga in the near future, even outside of this priority corridor project. The $4 million federal earmark grant that I've updated you on pretty regularly is one that the councilman had secured. It is actually being awarded by Public Works Board shortly. So the installations we expect to begin, shortly thereafter and to be completed by the end of this year. This federal funding will enable 18 different traffic safety projects across our district, which includes specific improvements here in Sunland-Tujunga, a left turn phasing signal at Foothill and Mount Gleason, 4 additional speed feedback signs, 2 will be placed in Sunland and 2 will be in Tujunga. There will also be a new emergency vehicle beacon located in front of Fire Station 74. And lastly, a new pedestrian hybrid beacon at Foothill and Wingate. This is an area where a lot of people run across the street to try to access the library or Vaughn's. And so adding a pedestrian crossing will allow people to do that more safely. Lastly, I'm also continuing to make progress with the left turn phasing signal that's planned at Foothill and Oro Vista, which is funded through Vision Zero's backlog signal program. That is currently the civil designs for the curb ramp improvements that need to go along with the signal is underway. And once these civil designs are complete, DOT will finalize the signal plans and also prepare that for a bid advertisement as well. Lastly, for traffic safety, AB 43 recently passed at the state level, which is allowing the city of Los Angeles to reduce the speed limit on Foothill Boulevard from 40 miles an hour back to its original 35-mile-per-hour speed limit. That's expected to take place by this summer. So that's my update for traffic safety. In regards to homelessness, I did want to share out that with Sunland Park, in addition to the efforts of LAPD and the Rangers, we also have been having weekly outreach going out to visit the folks there. We have had a few happy outcomes. The individual that used to be down by the picnic table at the skate park has achieved permanent housing situation, as has one of the vehicle dwellers that lived in the parking lot as well. So we continue to celebrate those successes and to make sure that people are connected and ready as rooms and beds open up that meet their needs. So, again, that's really the final solution that will help get people off the street permanently and into a supportive situation rather than just moving them, out onto the street or to another area in the community. So we definitely are excited to see people achieving permanent housing situations that work for them. Also, I wanted to update you all. We have some great news. The Housing Authority of the City of LA, also known as HACLA, received $9.5 million from the state of California to purchase a 34-unit property, apartment buildings that are currently under construction at 10150 Hillhaven Avenue in Tujunga. The property will be converted into supportive housing for people that are experiencing homelessness. The 24/7 on-site specialized property management will be provided by HIDER, and the selection of the service provider is still being finalized by HACLA. The facility will include on-site case management, service coordination, education, and employment services. And our office is working closely with HACLA to find ways to prioritize placement of individuals that are experiencing homelessness here in Sunland-Tujunga. Currently, our outreach teams continue to work with these encampments weekly, including those at Sunland Park, as I just mentioned. We also are deploying sanitation services for our priority locations, which includes both our Care and Care Plus operations, to different locations throughout the foothills. We're continuing to work with these resources available to address homelessness and, to keep fighting for additional funding and resources to help us move more into the housing. One of the things that's a bit unusual about our community is that 90% of the homeless living here are people that were born and raised in the community, and they often have deep ties, whether it's friends or family members or just the familiarity of the community. So it has been a challenge to try to offer housing in, really different and far away parts of the city of Los Angeles. So we're hoping that we will be able to connect people with this local housing resource, and it will, have a high success rate. Lastly, I wanted to give an update on the therapeutic van program. The pilot program is a citywide unarmed emergency response alternative for those experiencing a mental health crisis. It launched earlier this year on January 30th, and there will be 5 different fire stations across the city of LA that host a therapeutic van, including our own local LA Fire Department 77 here in La Tuna and Sun Valley area. And that one will be launching shortly. Last year, nearly 50,000 calls to 911 involved mental health issues. The deployment concept provides the right type of aid and takes a load off of LAPD and LA Fire Department paramedics, and also hospital emergency rooms. And the resources can then instead be redirected to life-saving measures. So far, the data has been great, and nearly 70% of the calls, the therapeutic van transported the patients and relieved the paramedics at the scene. One quick update on McGroarty Arts Center. We've also been working with GSD to get an estimate for resurfacing the parking lot at McGroarty Arts Center, which many of you know has been in poor condition, and also trimming the tree roots that caused the asphalt to buckle. The councilwoman has secured funding for these repairs and will be moving forward with implementation of that resurfacing. And my very final bit of news is to introduce some new staff that we have. Over the past few years, I've fulfilled both the role of area representative and area director for Sunland and Tujunga. I'm happy to announce that Mary McAdam is our new area representative for Tujunga. So she is on the call right now. If you wouldn't mind unmuting her as well, she can say hello to you all in her own words. And I also wanted to let you know that we have a new caseworker, Billie Jean Londano. So she is actually replacing Delilah, who took another position elsewhere. And she is a new caseworker. She has a lot of experience in the mayor's office doing casework, so she's very experienced. And we welcome you all to give a call to our office. We're open Monday through Friday from 9 to 5. If you have any casework needs or issues in the community, just wanted to let you know we have some new staff on site. So I'm very excited about that. And they have a lot of great energy, and I'll let Mary introduce herself a little bit more.
Okay.
Well, thank you, Eve, for your very kind introduction. Like I said, my name is Mary McAdam, and I'll be the area representative for Tujunga. Very excited to join and serve in this community. And if you guys have any concerns in the area, please feel free to reach out. Not sure if I could type in the chat, but you could. My email is just mary.mcadam@LA City, and I'd be happy to help you guys out with any of your concerns. Thank you. Okay, also, just some context, something I really hope to help with in this area is I do have a lot of experience with homeless outreach. Previous to this, I was strictly a homeless outreach worker and was able to get 78 folks housed and off the street. So I really hope to bring that experience over to this area. And yeah, I'm excited to do a little bit of both homeless outreach here and trying to improve our community, as well as interacting with the other constituents' concerns in Tujunga.
Did we lose Lydia? No, there she is.
See her, looks like she's muted. Lydia, you're muted?
Sorry, I was calling your name, Carol, for you to go ahead and speak.
Oh, okay. Well,
sorry.
Just a question for Eve. Again, how much money for how many units for the project on Hillhaven?
I believe it's a $9.5 million, and it was for 34 units. There are a variety of units. So some are 1 bedroom, some are 2 bedrooms, so they can house multiple individuals.
Are you planning on housing families or multiple unrelated individuals, or what's the plan?
So it can, there are different housing arrangements. It could be a couple, it could be a family if it's a 2 bedroom. Generally, if it's a studio apartment, only 1 person can be housed. But if it's a 1 bedroom, you could have roommates, you could have a couple. If it's a 2 bedroom, you could have, a family as well.
Okay, because they're pretty upscale, stainless appliances and everything. So there will be emphasis on drug rehab and job training, then you said?
Yes. So all of our Project Home Key sites and also our permanent supportive housing facilities have on-site case management. And so that entails whether it's mental health support, whether it's medication needs, whether it's addiction counseling, alcoholism treatment, that sort of thing. The services are provided on site.
Okay. And has the neighbors been notified? Because I know I'm a member of the Elks Club behind there, and we weren't aware that that was going to be, that's what the housing was going to be used for.
Yeah, so it has not, it was just announced the end of April. So we actually just learned that the money was awarded for this project. So as we learn more about it, we'll be sharing out updates with the community.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, thanks.
Lenny, your hand is up. Go ahead.
Yeah, I have a question for Eve Sinclair. The Vision Zero project and all of the paint going on is, good idea. Most normal people would pay attention to that and try to abide by that. I know it's gotten my attention. The majority of the speeders, though, are young testosterone males who have no consideration for anybody else, and they're not going to pay attention to all the paint. So I'm asking, have we also provided for, since it's a high priority risk corridor, for additional traffic officers on motorcycles, because they'll get them to pay attention. They'll enforce the law.
Yeah, I will definitely give you some updates. So actually on Foothill Boulevard, we did actually have a speed survey done back in early 2018. And it wasn't actually just a few people speeding. It was actually 93% of the drivers were going more than 10 miles over the speed limit. So the speed limit at that time was 35 miles an hour. And 93% of people were going 45 or faster. Because of the state law at the time, it triggered us having to actually increase the speed limit because at the time you could not set a speed limit in the state of California below what 85% of the people were driving. So we actually had to increase the speed limit to be able to get enforcement on Foothill Boulevard, even though that sounds counterintuitive. So with, all the different tools that we're implementing, whether it's the speed feedback signs that remind people you're speeding, you're going over the speed limit, or whether it's the paint that helps people just, pay better attention to where they're moving. We expect to see speeds drop. I actually do spend a lot of time watching the speed feedback signs, which clock people going by, and they seem like they've had a very positive effect so far. We also, of course, are working all the time with our Valley traffic officers. We actually have been working with Officer Flores this week to deploy him down near the intersection of Lowell and Honolulu, where there's a lot of people speeding off the freeway there. Unfortunately, we don't control that intersection as the city of LA. We actually start just past it. It's a Glendale intersection. So we do work with the police to go ahead and, target for enforcement problematic areas. We've also requested a portable speed trailer to be posted at that location. We are in the process of budget negotiations right now. I don't know the final outcomes yet because they're still having hearings and whatnot, but I know that there has been additional funding geared towards LAPD.
Okay, so is there an effort to put more traffic officers in this priority corridor? That was my question.
Yeah, so we don't actually direct deployment by LAPD, but yes, generally speaking, we work with them. We let them know when we're doing the engineering changes and whatnot, and we request additional support in the area.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I do want to remind the board members that it's already 8 o'clock. So I know we have some more hands up, but I'd like to try to keep the questions and answers brief so we can get on to the other topics that we need to. John Von Gunton, go ahead.
Eve, you mentioned that there were 34 units. You were uncertain about how many people it would hold. Can you give us some idea of that?
I can, there's a record that has a list of all of the bedrooms. So you can, I can share that list with you of how many bedrooms there are. I don't know, again, what the final, it will depend on configuration. I mean, you might have a couple that could move in or, a family. I don't know what the limits are for how many people per bedroom and, if they're children. I don't know what the limits are for that, but I can tell you, I can share with you the information on how many units there are of each in the building.
Thank you. Was our land use committee informed about this?
Again, we just found out about it. So just 2 weeks ago. So we have are still getting information and we will continue to share it out. So we will let you know when we hear more.
And if you just received this information 2 weeks ago, if that's accurate, who is paying for the ongoing work that is happening there right now and has been going on for months? If you just received the information, quote, 2 weeks ago.
So it was just chosen by the state of California. So it works similar to a grant application. Cities all across the
I'm asking who paid for it if you didn't.
Who paid for what?
The fact that that building is there full of appliances, lots of work going on, lots of people, and it's been going on for months. If you only heard about it 2 weeks ago, who's been paying for it beforehand? Thank you.
The property owner. So we are purchasing the building from a property owner.
For $9 million?
Well, I'm not sure if that's the total amount of the actual building. That's how much the state is funding towards the purchase of it. So what Project Home Key is a state program where cities can purchase a hotel, like an existing hotel, or in this case, a new apartment building. Hotels often require conversions. So there's additional, changes that need to be made and renovations following the purchase. This is a brand new apartment building. So I believe that the owners are still completing it. I don't know where they are in the process of escrow and contingencies and all that sort of thing.
You mentioned plans to, quote, inform nearby residents, but you never mentioned anything about soliciting input from people who live there, work there, park there, walk home at night there from work. Are you interested in public input, or are you interested in putting it there in a fashion that does as you and the city council please? Do you want input?
It's actually HACLA that is purchasing the property. So we are happy to, host a meeting if they would like to attend, and we can invite the, other community members. We're informing as we find out, details. So this was just selected by the state of California for funding. Had they not chosen this project, it would not have moved forward.
My question is, will there be a chance for input, not just to inform them we're doing it this way and that way, and God bless, I hope you like it, but input. These people work there, they know the parking, they know the other residents, they know troublesome houses, houses and apartment buildings and residents nearby. You really need neighborhood input, and you seem to have no process set up or interest in taking that.
Again, I will reach out to HACLA and we can let them lead that process because it's their building they'll be managing.
There needs to be an attitude for, we want your information, not here's a building, hope you like it. That's all. Goodbye.
Thank you, John. Cindy, go ahead, please.
Just very quickly, this is a very secretive project. The money put into Day Street was far more than the money being put into this project on Hill Haven. So something is not right. You really, really need to engage the community, especially the neighborhood council and its land use committee. And I certainly hope that you do that. Stop the secretive stuff. Thank you.
Thank you. Kathleen Travers, go ahead.
I believe that the amount of money that was put into Day Street was 14 million. It has twice as many units, and this is 9 million. All of that extra money beyond the purchase of the property. And I was going to ask you if you knew, Eve, usually it's 20 to 25 years of services for the people housed there. And I just wanted to know, because I hadn't known of a property that was purchased by the state. Do you know, Eve, if that's 20 or 25 years worth of services for the inhabitants?
I don't know offhand, but I'll try to find out.
I believe it's generally either 20 or 25 years of services, because of course we all know that no 35 unit building costs $9 million. It's all of the social services that are associated. But thank you for looking into that for me, Eve. Thank you very much.
Definitely.
Thank you, Kathleen. Mark Siegel, go ahead.
Unmute button.
Okay, Mark, go ahead.
Hi there, nice to see you all. Thank you for coming to the meeting. And I arrived at 7:25. If the secretary would like to do it, then work doesn't end from 9 to 5. I'm just curious about how this project became what it is now, from being just a rental apartment building, and if Monica is the one who made that happen or not. That's a question for Eve. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so I would say that Project Home Key has actually grown out of the Project Room Key program. So during COVID, a lot of our hotels closed because there wasn't the tourism that normally supports them. So the city and also state worked to move people that were homeless into empty hotel rooms. It was a very successful program, and it happened while a lot of hotels were not taking their usual reservations. Now, following that, the state realized that it was a much more cost-effective approach rather than building PSH properties from scratch to either purchase and convert existing hotels and motels, or in this case, new apartment buildings. So the state secured federal funding to provide additional support for these Project Home Key sites. Just recently, I think this is only the second round of different awards that they've done in the past 6 months or so. So it's a relatively new program. It was not in existence when the apartments first were proposed. At this point, the city is going through to identify properties that A, would be suitable for homeless housing, B, that are, the property owners might be willing to sell it, and to go through that whole process. Then they submit different locations to the state for funding, sort of like similar to a grant application, and then different ones are selected. So that's the process. Again, this is a HACLA project. It was identified by HACLA. So we are, excited to see it come to the area because we think it could be very successful in addressing the homelessness issues here in Sunland-Tujunga, and we're pushing to try to have that take place. But yeah, it is a HACLA project.
Thank you. Karen Purdue, go ahead.
Okay, thanks. I'd be curious what HACLA stands for, number one. And number two, I believe that the home key was supposed to be to purchase existing buildings. So is it unusual that a brand new building is built and then the city comes in and buys it? In your experience, Eve? And that's my two questions. Thank you.
Yeah, it is, I have to actually look up HACLA because I always forget the acronym. It is the Housing Authority. Let's see here. Oh gosh, it just went off my screen. The Housing Authority
of the City of Los Angeles.
Of the City of Los Angeles, yes. And so they're the ones that run, you know, different public housing and so on in the City of Los Angeles, Section 8 housing, et cetera. As far as new buildings, I know that there have been several new apartment buildings that are also in the queue and either have been approved or are, you know, in the process of being submitted. So again, when you purchase an old hotel or motel, a lot of times there's pretty extensive renovation work that has to happen. For instance, each unit might need to have a kitchen put in. So we do have an existing Project Home Key site, the Goodnight Inn in Sylmar. Right now, they're considered interim housing, which means they're temporary. So people are moved in until they locate a permanent housing solution. And a certain number of the units are offline right now and being renovated to eventually become permanent housing. So the idea of purchasing apartment buildings is they are ready for people to move in quickly. I do believe there is a component of the state funding for Home Key that the facilities have to come online within a relatively short period of time following the purchase, i.e. you can't take, you know, 5 years to do renovations and that sort of thing. They have to have a pretty quick turnaround. So I think that's one of the formulas that they look at as far as what gets funded.
Yes, okay. There's Sunland-Tujunga Neighborhood Council.
Hey guys, sorry, that's Ed. I can't seem to change the name out there, but it is what it is.
Oh, you guys.
Hey Eve, so thanks for that update. You mentioned a couple of things there, and I just want to ask a question or point something out. Project Home Key, is it limited to County of Los Angeles? And you mentioned this idea. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, it's a statewide program. So
Okay,
cities and counties across the state are applying for this funding.
Perfect. So that brings me to the second question. So you mentioned, you know, finding areas that are suitable for homelessness. I would assume 4 walls and a roof are much better than nothing. And I would just point to Los Angeles being amongst the most expensive real estate you could buy, including the services. Barstow, California, which I'm very familiar with, has a lot of open buildings, older hotels, older apartment buildings, much cheaper. I would just suggest we look at those outskirt cities, outskirt counties to provide services rather than, you know, the discussion we're having here, even though no one's really asked about it, is that you're offering through Project Home Key a brand new building to folks who, you know, are on the lower end of the income scale. Meanwhile, middle-class families cannot afford to live in Los Angeles.
Yes, one of the issues, unfortunately, is that when, especially for this area, as I mentioned earlier, a lot of people are very attached to the area. They have friends and families. So I can tell you, for instance, at Sunland Park, there were multiple rooms in downtown Los Angeles that were offered to people that are experiencing homelessness in the park. They all are interested in housing, but none of them were willing to go all the way to downtown. So you know, we can, you know, have places all, you know, a far distance away, but there's no method to compel people to go there. So one of the issues we've had in this area is, again, there's very little homeless housing. When we came into office, there were very few beds in all of CD7. So that impacted our ability to be able to house people that, you know, live and are connected in these, you know, these communities. So we have been working, you know, over time to build, like, we have a new permanent supportive housing facility going going in Lakeview Terrace right now for veterans and their families. By building within the area, you increase the likelihood that people will accept the rooms and move into them and off of the streets. So it's, it's a fine line of trying to, we could reduce costs by buying elsewhere, but we may not be able to move people into it, if that makes sense.
Okay, unfortunately, we're already at 8:15 and we have a lot of business we need to get to, especially funding issues because we're running on a deadline. I'd like to ask anybody who has further questions to Eve, please to contact her offline. I am going to ask, I know Patty Potter has her hand up. I'm going to ask Patty if it's possible to put this on the agenda for the Land Use Committee so there could be more discussion about this. There's more information that we need to have. And Eve, I'm giving you a heads up so you know that there's going to be a lot of questions from the community. And I would also like to know two things specifically, that if you can get that information for the Land Use Committee. One of them is who the provider is going to be. The reason I ask is because when they did the Project Room Key over at the Airtel Plaza, crime went up in the community 800%. Also, the contracts for Project Home Key have been written in a way that after they provide this homeless housing for 5 years, the building is actually deeded over and given to the provider. And that's taxpayer money that's basically being given to them. So I think that this is information that we need to have a bigger conversation about. I do appreciate you bringing it to the meeting, but I'm going to ask that we move on to our next items. Thank you. Okay, so moving on to the next items. Patty, report from the Land Use Committee, discussion possible action for the STNC board to approve Land Use Committee support letter recommendations. Patty, hold on a second. Got to get you to unmute you or let you raise. Hold on.
She should be unmuted.
Yeah, Patty, go ahead.
Oh, okay. I didn't know I was unmuted. Thank you. Yes, apparently this letter came in front and it was my mistake. I had a support on top and down the bottom I had an oppose, and somebody in the land, you guys discovered it. So we've redone the letter. The Land Use Committee confirmed that we want to support the project. The other thing is the actual address on the application is 9452. So the support letter that we've written shows 9452, and it does not say anything about 9450. So I move that the STNC at the LUC's recommendation approve the support letter for the 7452.
Okay, thank you. I have a motion to approve the letter in item A?
Patty, did you say 7452? I got.
I'm sorry, you know what? I am not well. I apologize. 9452.
All right, thank you.
I move, Lydia.
Thank you, Lala. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Karen. Are there any hands raised or comments on this item? Going to the community, let me, I don't see any hands raised for public comments on this. Hold on a second. Alyssa, go ahead.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, my name's Elisa Avalos and I am running for City Council for District 7. And one of the things that I was going to say something totally different, but being a part of this meeting right now, the frustration, the lack of communication. And that's one of the reasons why I'm running.
Alyssa, we're speaking to the item
Okay,
for
I'm
the Land Use
sorry.
Committee. That's okay.
Okay.
You'll have time later.
Thank you.
Okay.
Sorry, you guys.
No problem. Okay. Not seeing any other hands. I'd like to move to the vote for the board. Carol, did you want to call the roll?
Sure. Oh, good. I'm not muted. Okay. Lydia Grant?
Yes.
Lala Rowe?
Yes.
Karen Purdue?
Yes.
Ed Babakanian?
Yes.
Carol Hutchinson is yes. Lenny Freeman,
Yes.
KT Travers,
Yes.
Trevor Schmidt,
Yes.
Claire Gordon,
Yes.
John Van Gunten,
Yes.
Karen Moran,
Yes.
Belinda Woodruff is absent, or did she? Okay, Cheryl Smith,
Yes.
Michelle Wadler is absent. Okay, Shirley Kim, still absent. Okay, Chris Rowe,
Yes.
Nina Royal,
Yes.
Cindy Claycorn,
Yes.
Mark Siegel,
Abstain.
abstain. Okay, thank you. Okay, that's 15 yes, 1 abstain, and 2 absent.
Thank you. Patty, did you have any other announcements for the Land Use Committee?
Yes, real quick. Bill Skiles, who has been on the Land Use Committee plus many, many other committees for the STNC, has resigned. He's moving out of the area. So we do have openings as a full member plus 3 alternates. If anybody is interested in joining the LUC, please email me and I'll send you the application. My email is patipstnc@gmail.com.
Thank you, Patty. Okay, now we'll move on to committee and liaison reports. Are there any reports from any committees? If so, raise your hand. Let's see, Patty, go ahead.
Oh, what?
Your hand is still up. Okay,
Oh,
we're good. Okay, Lala, go ahead.
Thank you. This is the Education Committee report, and we have some exciting stuff coming up here. Very quickly, I'm going to share my screen.
All right,
One
there you
second.
go.
And 1 second, it's not working quite the way I wanted to. Okay. Okay. So we do this and we go to. All right. So we have the in cooperation with Tree People and LA County Clean Safe Water Program, we're going to be having a water town hall. This is going to be on Thursday, May 26th at 7 p.m. The Zoom ID is the regular education one, 983-483-8119. We're going to be discussing watershed projects, the condition of the watershed in our area, water resources programs that are available to our community, any clean water projects, how we can set aside land as a watershed not to be built on. This came up in an earlier briefing that we had with the Tree People, so we're going to take that up. And there will be live Q&A and more, whatever water related subjects we need to take up. So I really encourage everyone to come to this. I think we're going to have a great time and have some good education on our watershed and water resources. In addition, I announced this earlier, it's our wildfire preparedness training. This is good for homeowners. It's good for contractors. If you're a contractor or you know a contractor, they can take this training and actually add it to what the service that they deliver when they do contracting. Landscapers, businesses, students. So this is how to inspect and protect your property, your home and the grounds in case of wildfire. What's the best way to make it to help you survive? So there's going to be 3 classes. The first 2 are virtual on May 20th, 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. May 21st is 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. And on May 21st, 2 to 4 p.m. is in-person training. And there's a link, which I don't have right here, but it is posted on our STNC Facebook page. It should be posted shortly on the calendar as well. So you have to actually use the link to register. And otherwise you don't have access on the virtual trainings. You need to have access to the materials that are online. So please go and register. This is all free. Now we have something else that he was not able to attend our last meeting. However, Sandy sent me this data. So if Sandy Caps is here, we have CERT training, and it's going to be both virtual and in person is coming up. And this is really exciting for a number of people. So if Sandy is here and she wants to say this, talk about this, she should. Are you here, Sandy?
Sandy, I promoted you and allowed you to talk. It's really low.
Really, really low.
Okay.
I can just go through the slides here. That might work.
Real quick, all I'm going to say is that we are going to have a CERT class up in Sunland on September, but that will be more information once we get all of the LA Fire Department instructors lined up.
So this is Saturday, May 14th is the first fire service day. Where's the other? Okay. Wednesday, May 11th, 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. Oh my goodness, that's already. And then the, anyway, there is, oh, here we go. Wednesday, May 18th, there's a monthly continuing education training. Anyway, this, if it is not already on our Facebook page, it will be on our Facebook page. But I really encourage everyone to take CERT training. I took CERT training many, many years ago, and I have twice saved people's lives because I learned basics. Anyway, if Sandy can, let me just come out of here. If Sandy can get her sound up, she can tell you more. But that, other than that, that is my report. We have more exciting things coming up, and hopefully I'll be bringing them to you shortly.
Okay, thank you. Joe, go ahead.
Hello, this is Joe DeCenzo on behalf of START Committee, the Sunland-Tujunga Arts, Recreation, and Culture Committee. We meet online regularly the fourth Tuesday of every month at 7:30. And first of all, I want to sincerely thank Bill Skiles for his years of service and participation in START Committee. He has tendered his letter of resignation to me as well. And we wish the Skiles family all the very best with their future life, living with their relatives. We were also very excited to at least have a special meeting last evening to show our support for the funding motion that Monica Rodriguez put forth to City Council. If I heard Eve Sinclair correctly, I believe that motion was approved. I don't know if it needs to now go through the mayor's office or whether it is a done deal and they consider the funding secure for the project. But the McGroarty Arts Center is a historic venue here in our area. It will be celebrating its 100th anniversary, at least with regard to the house that is on the foundation. The foundation is a little bit older than 100 years, but the current house is going to be 100 years old. And we encourage anybody who's interested, please attend the Sunland-Tujunga Arts, Recreation, and Culture Committee meetings to help artists and organizations network and find support of the resources that are available, as well as drawing resources in that we are so entitled to and so deeply underserved, I still feel, in this area. Thanks very much.
Karen, go ahead, please.
Okay, just want to reiterate and thank everybody for their participation in the Verdugo Hill Cemetery. That's the community at large and as well as ourselves. And we talked about the coffee and tea with the STNC, good success. My announcement is that, as you know, the STN shirts and business cards are in. Most have been distributed at our events or delivered. If you haven't received yours yet, please make contact with me, and I'll make arrangements to meet up or you can come pick up. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Ed, go ahead.
Thanks, Lydia. Just real quickly, wanted to once again thank Bill Skiles for all of his participation and our in our little committee as well. We also need to announce an empty board seat or an empty committee seat on the Budget and Finance Committee. So appreciate anybody who's interested in joining. We have one person already potentially wanting to join. We would welcome anybody else just to make sure that we continue to maintain quorum. Also, just real quickly, in answer to the question that was asked earlier, in terms of the events, the dates that we need to pay attention to for payment. May 20th is the last date to submit an event packet. June 1st is the last date to submit a check request. Those typically take 10 days to 2 weeks to actually pay out. And June 20th is the last date to submit a credit card charge. Of course, we want to get them in earlier than that because it takes a little bit of time to upload the invoice and get things taken care of. From a spending perspective, just to bring folks up to speed, on our initial budget of just under $43,000, we've spent $21,205 year to date. Got about $21,000 left to spend, which will bring us to some items on tonight's agenda to take care of that. And lastly, we'll get to it when we get to the consent calendar. We are running into a little bit of issues with having a new funding rep questioning a lot of our charges. So they tend to get flagged and we have to go through some explanations. And so because of that, the March MER was delayed. It's now available. Now the April MER is delayed. So we'll have to pull that off when we get to consent calendar. That's it for me.
Thank you, Ed. Okay. Moving right along, let's see. Consent calendar items. Consent calendar items are considered to be non-controversial and be treated as one agenda item. Any board member stakeholder may request that an item be removed. There will be no discussion of these items unless an item is removed from the consent calendar, in which case it will go to the end of new business and be considered as time allows. Motion, the STNC approves the consent calendar. We have the motion to file a CIS against Council File 11002-S24AB1594. That is a firearm manufacturer and retailer's non-compliance lawsuit and ghost gun regulations. These were all the board members had access to these. Hopefully those were reviewed. Motion to file a CIS against unless amended for the home key program, homeless crisis and state coronavirus relief fund. C, motion to file CIS against city council resolution that opposes 220002 S6120212022 state legislative program, the Taxpayer Protection and Government Accountability Act. Motion to file a CIS against unless amended on Council File 200990 regarding mandatory diversity, equity, and inclusion training and anti-bias training for all members of Los Angeles Neighborhood Council, including implementation of Mayor's Executive Order 27 regarding racial equity and city government plans at the neighborhood council level and include gender expressions and gender in Dunn's report. E, discussion action approve March 2022 monthly expenditure report and balances. Carol, can you put the CISs up so we can see them?
Sure.
Thank you. Discussion action approval of April 2022 monthly expenditure report. That was the one that needs to be pulled out. So I'm removing that one right now. Approve March 2022 monthly expenditure report and balances. discussion, action, approval of up to $350 for snacks, water items for cleanup, event, and tree mulching and watering in coordination and cooperation with the STAC committee. Item I is discussion, action, approval of up to $5,000 for outreach items and printing, kitchen magnets, STNC brochure, banners for STNC, bus bench advertising, printing, coloring books and crayons, which would be the red dog ones that we've been using, which are the emergency preparedness and public safety ones. Keychain flashlight with logo, lip balm with logo, good quality pens, pencils, tote bags with logo, print resource materials, see detailed list. J is discussion and action approval up to $3,000 for National Night Out in August of 2022. K is discussion action to approve the Stark recommendation to appoint Joanna Gates to the Stark Committee. Joanna is an art teacher and currently serving as Vice President of the McGordy Art Center Board of Directors. She's enthusiastic about networking with other artists and organizations through the Stark Committee. The current committee members of Stark have unanimously approved the recommendation to present her application request to the SDNC board. Okay, that was the items. I see a couple hands up. Kathleen Travers, go ahead.
A, B, C, I, J.
A, B, say them again.
A, B, C, D, I, J.
All right. Okay, Claire, your hand is up.
No, she covered the letters, so I took it back down.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So let me see.
Okay. So this would be items. So the consent calendar items would be E, F, G, H, and K.
But okay, the April MER is not available.
That's right. So F is canceled.
Okay, and Patty, the spreadsheet is not available.
Well, it is if somebody wants to see it, but it would take me a while to explain it all, and I don't think you guys have time. Pretty much Ed gave a report already.
Okay. Did the spreadsheet go out to the board members in the packet?
No, this is just
This
my
one
own
shouldn't.
personal log I keep to see who's paid for what and how much stuff is listed. And so we can tell. You can't look at the Merck and say we've got $19,000 left when we don't. We're if everything's spent as have been approved or allotted, we're minus $1,000 plus. So
okay, thank you. Okay, so do I have a motion for items E, G, H, and K?
I move, this is Lala, and can we put the agenda back up?
I'll second. This is Cheryl.
Okay, Lala made the motion, Cheryl seconded.
Okay, I'll put the agenda back up. Okay, give me a moment.
So now all we have left is discussion and motion to approve the March expenditure report. We have the Excel spreadsheet that Patty Potter puts together, discussion and action for the 350 and snacks, and the discussion action for the Stark Committee recommendation for Joanna Gates. That's all that's on here currently.
So that's really E, H, and K.
It's E, G, H, and K.
Well, is Patty, are we going to do the spreadsheet then?
you know, I don't think you guys have time. It's getting late and I'm exhausted. I can't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then we'll take G off.
Okay, so E,
the item
H,
E,
and
H,
K.
Yeah.
Okay. And who seconded? Cheryl?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. Ready.
Okay. Are there any comments from the community members on this item? For the consent calendar, I don't see any board member comments on this. I do not see any hands. Okay, Carol, go for the vote.
Okay, Lydia Grant,
Yes.
Lala Rowe,
Yes.
Karen Purdue,
No,
Karen,
no,
no. Ed Babakanian,
Yes.
Carol Hutchinson is yes. Lenny Freeman,
Yes.
KT Travers. KT,
Yes.
Trevor Schmidt,
Yes.
Claire Gordon,
Yes.
John Van Gunten,
Yes.
Karen Moran,
Yes.
Belinda is still absent. Cheryl Smith,
Yes.
Michelle Wadler absent. Shirley Kim is absent still. Okay. Chris Rowe,
Yes.
Nina Royal,
Yes.
Cindy Clayhorn,
Yes.
Mark Siegel.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
That's 15 yes, 1 no, and 3 absent.
Okay.
So do you want me to bring up the CISs?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. I'm gonna go down to where it says new business because it says after new business.
Oh, okay.
So, because we're gonna move on to item A, old business, I would like to ask, because it's in regard to the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment. When we did officials earlier, I accidentally missed Raul, who is here today. So I'd like to give Raul opportunity to give his report before we move on to the done letter. Raul, go ahead.
Yes, hello, good evening. Thank you, Lydia, and I'll be brief. Just as you mentioned last week, or requested us to look at the trainings for the board members. I'm happy to report that it appears that all board members are current in their training. I don't think anyone has a need to update any training until later this year. I think the first one takes place sometime in August. So there is still, well, now only about 2 months or so before an updated training is needed, and I'll send that information out. I'll also follow up again with my email with the longer report, but just some key dates that I want to share with you, or new dates that we have. We have the Neighborhood Council Core Institute will be back. The first one will be on Tuesday, the 31st. We're going to be hosting a workshop on the Brown Act, and we will be doing a workshop in collaboration with Susan Leahy of Robert's Rules Made Simple on how to chair a meeting for people who are maybe committee chairs if they want to do just a review of that. That is a date that is to be determined. And lastly, I'll share today that the Los Angeles Congress of Neighborhoods will take place on Saturday, September 24th via Zoom. Workshop applications are still open. If you have a proposal, please submit that by June 15th. I will include the link again in my follow-up email. And those are the main 2 updates that I want to give tonight. I will follow up with more updates in my email. Thank you.
Thank you. Carol, your hand is up. Go ahead.
Yeah, Raul, I did send you an email last week, I believe it was, with some questions about voting eligibility and people voting. I haven't had a response yet. I was wondering when I can look forward to a response to that.
Yes, hi, Carol. So we did see that email, and I'm going to follow up with Vanessa and with Raquel, our director, to get a response to you specifically on that. As of now, I think, as I mentioned, everyone is current with their training now, but let me follow up with them to see a response to that email. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we're going to move on to item A under old business, approve letter in response to the April 10th, 2022 letter from Dunn regarding observations. Carol, do we have that original letter?
I have, oh, her original letter. No, I'm sorry, unless somebody can bring it up.
It's March 10th.
What's on here?
I'm sorry, what?
Oh, it says April 10th. Okay. Yeah, it was the March 10th letter. Okay, well, all the board members got the letter, and so we've been working on a letter of response. And basically, well, I think it's self-explanatory in the letter that the response letter, because we address the issues that are in the original letter. Carol, can you put that up on the screen?
Just one moment. Is this the correct one?
I.
A response to the letter dated March 10th?
Yeah, I believe this is it. Okay. So it should have been it should have been available to the board members, and it's in response to the letter dated March 10th. It says this letter is in response to your letter dated March 10th, in which you express concerns about allegations of exclusion and or discrimination by the Sunland-Tujunga Neighborhood Council. Except for the blatant discrimination expressed by a board member who was censured for that action was also brought up for removal, no other board member's conduct has raised to that level. We would like to state that our opposition to your claims and concerns. We would also like to point out that the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment did everything they could to interfere with the appropriate steps taken to correct these actions and chose rather to support the discriminatory behavior and violations of both the Code of Conduct and our bylaws. Further, the department has shown a complete bias against this neighborhood council and has tried to force us to change our bylaws and standing rules to accommodate the department's opinion instead of listening to what is actually happening. Let us first address the department's lack of due process and its failure to follow the plan for neighborhood councils. You state that many complaints have been filed against us. According to the plan for neighborhood councils, complaints, quote, complaints against a certified neighborhood council of any nature shall be filed with Dunn on a form prescribed by Dunn. A copy of the complaint shall be delivered by Dunn to the affected certified neighborhood council against which the complaint is made within 5 days of receipt of the complaint. Exhaustive efforts to remedy all complaints shall be taken by Dunn. In the case where a complaint is in regards to a violation of this plan and a remedy cannot be reached, the process prescribed in Article 6, Section 5 shall be followed. Since our board did not receive any of the aforementioned complaints, it is obvious the department is in violation of due process. It should also be noted that the department itself did not feel the complaints rose to the level of actionable complaints. We would also like to state that over half the complaints were filed against the previous neighborhood council board. It is unprofessional for the department to make accusations against people who are not even on the board and try to punish them for it. Many on this board have no idea with what they are being accused of, nor were there any given opportunity to respond to the complaints. In the letter, you try to tell us we should change our bylaws and standing rules. Let us please review the plan for neighborhood councils. Item 4, plan for neighborhood councils. Certified neighborhood councils shall be as independent, self-governing, and self-directed as possible. The Department of Neighborhood Empowerment, Dunn, shall assist certified neighborhood councils to pursue options, including but not limited to tax exempt status and or nonprofit incorporation to strengthen their independence. Tax exempt status and or nonprofit incorporation will have no effect on the certified neighborhood council's eligibility for assistance, monetary or otherwise, from Dunn. And we included that language. We had to include the whole section. Instead of the department being in a supportive role, your department has supported instead over a long period of time those attacking us and has ignored this neighborhood council when we've asked for Dunn's help. The truth of this whole situation is we have a small group of people in our community who have been assaulting and attacking our board members to the point that many fear for our safety. The department has refused to speak to the LAPD sergeant who is concerned for the safety and welfare of our board members. Many complaints have been filed by the board members, which have been ignored by the Department of Neighborhood Empowered and other city departments. The Department of Neighborhood Empowerment has harassed and discriminated against many of our board members based on race, religion, political opinion, and disability. By ignoring these things, which have been perpetrated against our board members, and instead of the department providing support, the department has supported those committing these atrocities. And the department further acted on multiple occasions to try to stop the board from being able to act against some of this abuse. We will no longer allow the department to continue to treat us in this manner. We have the right to not support people for our board and committees that will create an even more hostile environment than the one we are. I lost my place, sorry.
I'm sorry.
Than the one we are currently working under. Our refusal to vote in favor of the hostility is our right as neighborhood council board members. The department does not have a right to dictate to us how we fill our board seat when we are following the bylaws. The department needs to remember that all workers, including volunteers, are protected under the California state law against discrimination. In case the department is not aware, harassment becomes unlawful when the conduct is severe or pervasive enough to create a work environment that a reasonable person would consider intimidating, hostile, or abusive. We feel that level is beyond this point. The state law of California Fair Employment and Housing Act is where you will find all the rules and protections for volunteers that are to be provided under California state law. We ask the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment Administration and staff to cease this behavior against our board, as it is adding to the hostile environment and adding undue stress to many of our board members, including those that are disabled with issues that are exacerbated by relentless attacks against them. This board is not here to serve a political agenda. We are here to serve our community as the stakeholders in this community elected us to do. We also ask again for the ability to have security at our meetings when we go back to in-person. This has been requested multiple times and has been ignored. We have the right to do this work without the department adding to an already hostile work environment. Sincerely, Lydia Grant, Sunland-Tujunga Neighborhood Council. Do I have a motion from the board to approve this letter?
Nina.
Nina made the motion. Who was the second?
Carol.
Carol's the second. Okay, do we have any comments from community members? Okay, we're gonna allow 1 minute to speak. John, can you do the timing?
Can do.
Thank you. Are you ready? John, let me know when you're ready.
Ready anytime.
Okay, thank you. Hands, Judith Quinones, go ahead, please. I'm sorry, I didn't hit the button. Hold on a second, Judith. Where did she go?
Hi, can you hear
There
me?
you are. Yes, thank you.
I just, in the interest of transparency, feel like it's very important that stakeholders be able to see the department's original letter. Otherwise, this response is lacking important content. And I know that all of you on this board value communication and transparency, as was clear by some of the questions you asked Eve about the Hill Haven location. So I think to be in integrity with that transparency, you should publish the letter that Dunn sent to you.
Thank you. Any other comments? And just for the record, this has been published. It was in the board packet from the last meeting also, and it's available on the website. Mark, your hand is up. Go ahead.
Hi, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Very good. Okay, so on April 13th, I had submitted a FOIA request to Dunn for the Public Records Act for a copy of the grievances that were filed because I went to their website and it glossed over them and we were unable to see what the grievances actually were. And as you read in your letter, it's department policy for them to give us in writing the full grievance within 5 days so that, you know, things can be worked on. Anyhow, Raul, I just want to say thank you. I think Raul, you know, he's new to us and I think he's new to the system in general, and he's been trying to help out with things, and I appreciate his work. I just want to say that, let me tell you what the response was from the city department. It's called ELA PRA. And so they sent me something that said, we are conducting a diligent and reasonable inquiry for any and all such records. We are running a search to review and will respond with non-exempt documents. Response to your request as soon as possible. We estimate that we will provide you with documents by Monday, May 9th, 2022. Well, of course, that has passed now 2 days ago.
The time is up. The time is up.
Oh, okay.
Well, I'm sorry.
Can I just
let Mark finish his report? He was giving us information.
Okay, so day for yesterday, I got another update to it that the new update when we should get it is May 23rd. And I believe that it should all be in a file somewhere. It should be so easy to just put it in a copier and send it to us. But I think they're stalling. I think there's something going on in the background. Anyhow, thank you so much. And I look forward to seeing it so we can resolve some of these problems they say that they think we're having.
Thank you. Carol, your hand is up.
Yes, so you know, I really walked out of, I retired and I just immediately almost was on the board. And for the last, 3 years or a little more that I've been on the board, we've undergone a lot of harassment. And at the last year, it really got out of control. There was so many attacks and assaults. And I tried to go to Dunn for help because we were being threatened. We were being screamed at. It was just awful. And Dunn did nothing. And then finally they said, well, you can go to My Voice LA. So I went to My Voice LA and I filed a complaint. Oh, for workplace violence and harassment. Oh, well, that's not discrimination, so we aren't going to do anything. And you talk about transparency. Here we're being told, oh, you are guilty of these crimes of whatever they are, but we aren't allowed to know what they are. And apparently they didn't even rise to the level that Dunn was willing to do anything about it, but somehow they're willing to hold us guilty for it. I mean, this is just, and listening last night at the code of conduct meeting, it was like they just want more power and control over the boards and to take away all voice from the boards and do this sort of stuff to us. This is just a completely trying to Dunn is trying to gut the neighborhood council system, turn us into just mouthpiece for Dunn, which are unelected bureaucrats that are.
Time is up. Time is up.
All right, thank you.
Lala, your hand is up. Go ahead.
Well,
no, I did that. Wait, stop. Start Lala over. I accidentally muted her. Go ahead, Lala.
Okay. First, I wanted to say thank you to Lydia in regard of all the things that are reflected in this letter and the degree of vitriol that has happened over these things. It's a very well put together letter, and I really want to thank you for that. And I just want to reiterate for anybody who isn't sure that we aren't here. This neighborhood council is not here to forward an agenda, a political agenda, left or right. I don't care what anybody else's politics are. We're here to serve our stakeholders, and we are here to contact our stakeholders and do what we believe is in their best interest with their consultation. And so I really appreciate this being put together in this way because it lays it on the line. It's a little bit brave, but then what the hell? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Karen?
Yes, thank you. I just want to ditto what Carol said, that we are elected officials, and this feels very like political sour grapes. When I got that letter, I went to investigate what exactly we had done, and it couldn't have been more vague. But nonetheless, even with the vagueness, there was some instruction on what we should do, how we should do it, and with whom we should engage more. Actually being the people who are perpetrating the accusations, which have no basis. So I'm kind of new to this. I am actually dumbfounded that we're being treated in such a way and accusatory on all ends that I can see. And I don't see Dunn as, helping us at all, just helping us be more confused. So I'd appreciate some clarification. For sure. Thank you.
Sorry. Thank you, Karen. Nina, go ahead, please.
I just want to say, having been a long time member of the board and of the neighborhood council system, and one of the founders from the neighborhood council, I'm extremely disappointed, very disappointed, because they are not holding to the policies that the neighborhood council was founded under. And I feel as though we have been given roadblocks all the way. It's progressively gotten worse, especially this last maybe three terms. This letter is very well written, and they need to pay attention. And if they don't pay attention, then we should consider alternatives. So thank you very much for doing this, everyone that put this together.
Okay, thank you. So we have the letter going to the department the way it's written right now. My question is, because we can always add more people to send it to. Do any of the board members feel that we should send this to the city council members also?
Yes.
Okay,
This should go to Bonk, shouldn't it?
to the
Should go to the
bottom.
mayor too.
Okay,
And
we
mayor.
can add those things. Okay. Okay, so we've already taken public comment. We can go ahead and go. Are there any other board comments on this item?
I have a comment.
Sure, Mark, go ahead.
Okay, so I've been going through the website that shows the grievances, the grievance website, and like I say, it just gives a real glossing of what they are and who submitted them and what the determinations were. And all the ones that I've seen so far were set aside. They were all said they weren't valid grievances. Yet Dunn is using the number of grievances as fodder against us. And so I think that we should include an addendum showing these grievances and the data that we can get, because I can't get the actual data yet, of everything, and show that these were all disallowed. It's not so much that these things are really grievable, but people want to have, want to grieve. And I think we need to add an addendum to this letter to include that information and show it how do I put it, in a table.
Okay, I'm not sure how to do that. We may need your help to put that together.
Can I say something?
But I don't want that to be part of the motion.
No, it doesn't need to be part of the motion.
Lydia,
Yeah,
I think that it would be good to put it in with all the copies that we're going to send out to everyone so that they can get a clear picture of what's going on. I mean, they have no idea. So I think Mark's suggestion is a very good one.
yeah, I'll address that 1 second. Lala, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to reiterate what Mark is saying. All we need to do is go on each one, screenshot it, because there's nothing there. It basically says, yeah, this was filed, it doesn't apply. That's what it says. So we should screenshot them so it'll be the evidence and include it.
Okay, so are there any objections to including those the copies of all the claims that they've included in their letter? I don't see any opposition. Okay, we'll go ahead and include them in there if the board passes this letter. So let's go ahead and call for the vote. Carol?
Okay, Lydia Grant,
Yes.
Lola Rowe,
Yes,
Lola,
yes,
thank you. Karen Purdue,
Yes.
Ed Babakanian,
Yes.
Carol Hutchinson is yes, Lenny Freeman,
Yeah.
KT Travers,
No.
Trevor Schmidt,
Yes.
Claire Gordon,
No.
John Van Gunten,
Yes.
Karen Moran.
Yes.
Okay, Belinda Woodruff is absent. Cheryl Smith,
Yes.
Michelle Wadler is absent. Shirley Kim is absent. Chris Rowe,
Yes.
Nina Royal,
Yes.
Cindy Claycorn,
Yes.
Mark Siegel.
Yes.
Okay. That's 14 yes, 2 no, and 3 absent.
Okay, thank you. Moving on to discussion and motion, approve a letter to Dunn requesting refund for 2021 park fee paid by STNC. So, Ed, you can speak to this if you want, Ed, but we paid for National Night Out. They charged us $850 to use Little Landers Park, and then they never refunded us the money. They forced us to pay the money to make sure it was cleaned up afterwards. And they also charged us for $200 for staff member who never showed. So we had requested that money back, but they never followed through. So we're going to approve a letter to send to Dunn requesting a refund for that park fee that we paid last year for National Night Out. Do I have a motion?
I make it.
Oh,
Okay, so Nina said she'd make it second.
I'll second it.
Ed?
Mark.
Or Mark?
Mark seconded it. Okay,
Okay,
now
Mark.
Ed, did you want to speak to it?
I mean, I think you covered it. I mean, essentially, we were charged a fee. We normally don't get charged. And we were told we'd get a refund. We never did get a refund. So we got to follow up on that. At a minimum, if they don't going to give us a refund this time, then at least let's ask for a credit for next year's event. So we're not double paying this thing.
I love that idea.
Yes.
And that
thank
park
you.
was in pristine condition when we left.
Yes, I even went back the next day and picked up any little scraps that anybody could have left overnight just to make sure it was clean. So it was spotless. Okay, so are there any comments from the community on this item? Please raise your hand if you have a comment. If not, let's go ahead and any board members have a comment on this item? Karen, go ahead, please.
Yeah, question. Who are we asking for the refund? Is it Parks and Rec or who?
Well, it gets sent to our funding person and they have to take care of it.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I know that's an issue right now, but we have to go through the motions. Thank you. Okay, Nina, go ahead.
Oh, I was trying to lower it. Sorry.
Okay, thank you. Let's go ahead and call for the vote, Carol.
All right, Lydia Grant,
Yes.
Lala Rowe,
Yes.
Karen Purdue,
Yes.
Ed Babakanian,
Yes.
Carol Hutchinson is yes, Lenny Freeman,
Yes.
KT Travers,
Abstain.
okay, Trevor Smith,
Yes.
Claire Gordon,
Yes.
John Van Gunten,
Yes.
Karen Moran,
Yes.
Belinda Woodruff absent, Cheryl Smith,
Yes.
Michelle Wadler absent, Shirley Kim absent, Chris Rowe,
Yes.
Nina Royal,
Yes.
Cindy Claycorn,
Yes, absolutely.
and Mark Siegel.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, 15 yes, 1 abstain, and 3 absent.
Okay, thank you. I'm gonna go ahead and go back to some of the new business or the things that were in the consent that we didn't vote on. And then we're gonna adjourn the meeting and open up the special meeting. But I want to get some of the funding things out of the way before, and then we'll go to the special meeting and we'll come back and do CISs. So I would like to move to item H, which is the discussion and action approval up to $350 for snacks, water, food items for cleanup event and tree mulching.
No.
Never mind, we did that one.
Yeah.
We approved H. Okay, hold on. Okay, so I'd like to move to item I, discussion action approval of up to $5,000 for outreach items and printing, kitchen magnets, the updated one, STNC brochures, banners for STNC, bus bench, advertising, printing, coloring books, crayons, keychains, flashlights, lick bombs. We have tote bags, pencils, print resource materials. There is a list. And the reason that we'd like to go ahead and move forward with this is we do have money that will be, if we do not spend the money before the end of the fiscal year, then that money will be returned to the city's general fund for starters. And also, we need to get items. We have National Night Out coming up. We have the 4th of July parade coming up. We have a lot of other events that are pending. We have the cleanup and tree mulching event, and we need some of the items to hand out. There's also a lot of other events being planned by other community groups, and we want to make sure we have the supplies we need so that we can be ready to go at a moment's notice, because getting the items when we have an event scheduled is too hard to do, and we can't always order things within that time limit. So let's go ahead and go to do I have a motion to approve the outreach items? And then Karen, Karen, you could speak on it if you'd like. Okay, thank you, Lala. Do we have a second?
I second.
Thank you, Karen. Lala made the motion. Karen seconded. Go ahead, Karen, speak to it.
Okay. I don't know. It gets a little complicated, but I just want to read a few things that that's in this $5,000, and actually, see what the outreach items actually will be is with taxes and shipping is $3,696.46. We've already approved $250. That's included in this amount. Not the 3,000, but it's an additional. Also, we've already approved $558.45 for the magnets. Also, we've approved and it has been paid and for the STNC brochures. I believe I did 300 of those in the amount of $226.67. Just pointing that out. And then we have the 350 stat committee cleanup and mulching. Is that a separate item? It is, okay.
We approved that already.
Okay, and then we do have like outstanding stuff. So if we get down to the nitty gritty, I've got it down to where we've got $10,000 rollover. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay, Kathleen, let me go to the community first. Is there any community members who have a comment on this item? If so, raise your hand. I don't see any hands. Okay, we'll go back. Kathleen, your hand is up. Go ahead.
Yes, I wanted to know what percentage of our overall yearly budget these outreach items amount to.
Won't do the math.
Maybe I can answer that one. So when we set our original budget, Kathleen, we set $10,000 aside for outreach. That's before we actually approve everything. So the max we're spending here is $10,000 out of 43. So it's a little less than 25%.
And I can understand the desire to spend money when we're about to lose it. But considering all of the good that could be done for the community with that amount of money, I'm just wondering, is 25% of our budget for outreach the way that we want to spend 25% of our budget? Isn't there something else that we can think of in the future, not tonight, of course, but wouldn't we like to think of something very positive that we can leave the community with, something solid, something that lasts for that amount of money or for part of that amount of money? That was what I had in mind when I asked that this be discussed. So thank you.
Thank you. Lala, go ahead.
Thank you. I really understand KT's concern, but my concern is that we need more outreach, considering the way our budget was cut. Having 25% of it being what we send to outreach is way, way low. It is our job. That's our primary job, is to be the liaison between the city services and the people of our stakeholders, our community. So if we can't reach them, these are things that get people involved, remind them about us, give us a second chance to get them involved in the community and to give them some services. So these things are vital. They are what we are here for. And it should be more than 25%. I know that there's wonderful things that could be done, and maybe somebody will want to build a statue and we should do that. Or maybe somebody will want to beautify something and we should do that. But our primary purpose is the liaison between those stakeholders and the city, and we do that with outreach. Thank you.
Thank you. Nina, go ahead.
For so many years, it's really difficult to reach people, and it does take money because we need to hold events. The way people know about the neighborhood councils, that we do hold events and that they come and they get the information and we're able to distribute. So getting the stickers and whatever, they're a tool. It's the tool to do the outreach with. that we really need. And the same thing, we've got National Night Out coming up. I don't know where that is in your budget, but that's going to be a good chunk of money too. But we get a big turnout and we've gotten people involved through outreach of events. So I have no problem with spending money for outreach. Thank you.
Thank you. John Von Gunton, go ahead.
Can you brush your teeth, Carson?
John Von Gunton, go ahead.
And thank you for the reminder.
I don't know how I was unmuted. I'm sorry.
Yes, mother.
Yeah, I'll use the chlorophyll kind. I may have trouble timing myself. I only want to say that we are being constantly, repetitiously, annoyingly, and in great generalities, without specific examples, accused of not reaching out to the community, not including the community. Well, here we are wanting to reach out, pass things out to the community, get more people involved, get more people to apply for the board. And some of the very people who accuse us of being private, a country club, etc., are saying, no, you have to cut that outreach so that they can come around next month and then insult us for not having outreached. No, thanks. I'm voting for this.
Thank you. Mark Siegel, go ahead.
You're muted, Mark.
I got you. Go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Okay, so I'm on the Neighborhood Council funding system dashboard looking at expenses and so forth. And if we spend 25%, that's in line with many of the other neighborhood councils, and in fact, less than many of the other neighborhood councils. Some of them are setting up the 61% for operational expenses or is budgeted, and that includes, of course, offices and office staff and paper, pencils, whatever. But 25% is not unreasonable. And one of the things that the city charter says is that neighborhood councils need to use money to spend for outreach, period. Thank you.
Thank you. Carol, did you have a comment?
Yes, I mean, I can't remember where it's written, but it says our primary things that our money's to go to, besides, first we're supposed to take care of the cost of living, whatever, and we're paying how much just to store stuff because we can't move it back to the city hall. Well, that's money that could have gone back into the community, but basically we're supposed to be spending it on outreach, our office costs, and elections. So we didn't have an election, but we aren't doing enough for outreach. We really aren't. And I get things from Monica's office all the time. Oh, I've done this, or oh, we're doing this. I think we should be doing something like that. And it's terribly expensive, but I think we need to do something like this, which is going to cost money, to reach out to the community, because we have a lot of this, I walk around my neighborhood and I see a lot of for sale signs, and that means new people are coming in. And do they even know a neighborhood council exists? And we need to do more outreach. And that's a lasting legacy for the community, is if they know they have a neighborhood council. So that's what I have to say.
Thank you. Kathleen, I think you already spoke on this.
Just like to amend what I had to say by adding that something that lasts could be a letter that goes out to people saying what a neighborhood council does. If you need help with a city agency, contact us.
Exactly.
Well, a letter isn't crayons. A letter that went to everybody in this area would do so much to tell people we're here for you. If like, let's say the women who bought La Michoacana, if they got a letter saying, this is what the neighborhood council is, please come to us. We want to be able to help you. But perhaps there are many people who don't know that there's a neighborhood council, but also don't know what it does. And maybe instead of just the name of the neighborhood council, the website, that sort of information, something that tells them what you look to a neighborhood council for, maybe that's something that could be considered, that could be part of that lasting gift to a community, to know that we are there for them, that we do represent them and want to help them with their crime problems, with their education problems, with whatever it is. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathleen. And you're welcome to go to the outreach committee meetings. That's where they come up with this stuff. And there's a lot more things that they're working on that aren't on this agenda today. One of the things that Karen printed up was a list to doing a movies in the park. That's another outreach event. Our focus is on trying to do the outreach. So we've also talked about doing newsletters. So there's a lot of options, but we need people to help with the work. I thought we'd already taken public comment on this item.
Yes, we did.
Okay,
There were
well,
none.
let's go ahead and go for the vote on this.
I don't think we did take public comment.
Lydia
Okay,
Grant?
wait, Carol, I'll go ahead and take public comment because Lala says she's not sure. Judith, your hand is raised. Go ahead.
Hi, yeah, I was just going to echo what KT just mentioned. If you give away buttons and magnets and stickers and things like that, that's one thing. But I do think that and those things they're pretty, but they don't really tell us what the neighborhood council is there to do. And they're not necessarily inviting the community to come in and participate. I think a newsletter with the upcoming events or, a postcard that says these are the ways you can get involved, because it really depends on the outreach that you're trying to do. If all you're trying to do is let people know you exist, then buttons will do that. But if you're trying to actually invite people to participate, I think it's important that reach every person in the community and that there be very clear ways of how people can participate.
Okay, thank you, Judith. Alyssa, go ahead.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. One of the things that I used to do, I was the president of Pacoima Neighborhood Council and I was the committee chair for outreach. We purchased t-shirts, water bottles, but we always made sure to purchase things for children. Why? Because when we would table, I noticed that the kids are the ones that bring the parents to the table. And by us tabling at every event or even just sitting at a table at a park, I was able to get 4 brand new board members by just doing outreach and just, giving things out also and attracting children. And that's how we also got a youth table, by doing outreach. So thank you, guys.
Thank you, Alyssa. Okay, Mark, go ahead.
Okay, just quick. When you do outreach, you have to use multiple ways to outreach to the community. Some are with tchotchkes, as we call them, water bottles or t-shirts or magnets or stuff, with ways to communicate to us and find us and how to get back to us. Other ways are to send out newsletters or postcards. We used to send out postcards when I was president of the council, and even before then, we would send out postcards. And anyhow, so that works also. The best way to go is multiple avenues. Thank you.
Okay, Carol, can we call for the vote, please?
Thank you. Lydia Grant?
Yes.
Lala Rowe?
Yes.
Karen Purdue?
Yes.
Ed Babakanian?
Yes.
Carol Hutchinson is yes. Lenny Freeman?
Yes.
KT Travers?
Yes.
Trevor Schmidt?
Yes.
Claire Gordon?
Yes.
John Van Gunten?
Yes.
Karen Moran?
Yes.
Belinda Woodruff absent. Cheryl Schmidt?
Yes.
Shel Wadler absent. Shirley Kim absent. Chris Rowe?
Yes.
Nina Royal? Nina?
Oops, yes.
Okay, thank you. Cindy Claythorne?
Yes.
Mark Siegel?
Yes.
Thank you. $16 yes, 3 absent. Okay, passes.
Thank you. Moving on to item J, discussion action approval of up to $3,000 for National Night Out in August of 2022. Do I have a motion?
This is Carol. I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Lenny. So Carol made the motion. Lenny was the second. Are there any comments from community members? If so, please raise your hand. Okay, Mark Dutton, go ahead.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, sorry, my hand was raised earlier. Is it too late for me to make a quick comment?
In regards to what?
In regards to outreach.
Yes, it's out of.
It's kind of over. We
Yeah,
have public
we're done
comment
with
in just
that.
a moment. We have public comment in just a couple minutes. Can you hold off just for a
Sure.
few? Okay.
Sure.
Okay, so no other hands from the community. Cindy, go ahead.
She wants to know if you can repeat the motion, please.
The motion is to approve up to $3,000 for National Night Out in August of 2022.
Thank you.
Okay, so not seeing any hands for any more board comments. Carol, can we go for the vote, please?
Okay. Lydia
I'm sorry,
Grant?
Kathleen has her hand up. Hold on. Kathleen, go ahead.
My question about this was, is this considered all for outreach? And if it is, I guess part of the problem in voting for this is that some of us were not members of the board the previous year when National Night Out was discussed and planned for and budgeted for. And that was my reason for wanting a brief discussion of it.
Okay, you were on the board when we did the last National Night Out and voted on the budget, but we hold National Night Out at Little Landers Park. The reason we choose that park is because it represents the most underserved part of our community. And we usually have a band, and we had an incredible turnout. Tons of people came. I mean, it was literally just full of people of all different ethnicities. We had a lot of people who didn't speak English. We had a whole bunch of game booths set up for kids to play games. We just
And the
had,
museum is open.
and the museum is at Bolton Hall Museum is open at the same time. It was just really an incredible event.
I didn't mean that I wasn't on the board. I wasn't part of the decision-making process that set up the budget.
Okay. That's been the standard amount we've been doing yearly. Okay, Karen, go ahead.
Yes, and $850 for a park fee. We may have to use for this in that $3,000 amount.
Then that's not going to work.
That we'll deal with that later. We can vote on it at the next meeting. It's not on the agenda to discuss today, and we might have, by the next meeting, we might have an answer as to the $850 they already owe us. Because we're sending that letter. Cheryl, your hand is up. Go ahead.
Just to clarify, the $3,000 is to put on the actual event, not just for outreach at National Night Out, right?
It's for all of it.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Sandy has her hand up. Sandy, go ahead.
Hi, yeah, I just had a question. What is the $3,000 for? What is there are you just earmarking it? Because you only have May 20th to use the credit card. So my concern is that this money has to be spent in this fiscal budget. You'd have to vote in the next fiscal budget for anything after July 1st.
Yeah, can we not go ahead and vote for some of the supplies and things like ordering the banners and the decorations and some of the stuff that we get for National Night Out?
That's my question, is just what you have, you're earmarking $3,000, but what is the $3,000 going to be spent on at National Night Out? Usually there's a breakdown of everything that 3,000 is going to include. Are you going to be able to have another meeting before the deadline to use the credit card?
Yeah, Karen has her hand up. Karen, do you
Okay.
want to respond?
What?
Okay. Yeah, it does get a little tricky, okay, because we basically what we need to do is tonight make a choice between setting money aside for the 4th of July parade, which we cannot do, apparently, or put our monies toward National Night Out. And what that is for is, and again, in that is $850. And I don't know if Nina needs to chime in or not. And then $2,000 for entertainment, water, sodas, prepackaged foods, non-perishable foods, balloons, ribbons, certificates, frames. Yeah, so that's it.
Thank you, Karen. That's all. I just wanted to know what what it was
Yeah.
for.
Okay.
Thank you.
It's the same as last year.
Mark Dutton, your hand is up. Did you have a comment about this?
No, sorry, I never put it down. I just wanted to make a comment on a previous.
Okay.
Sorry.
Cheryl, go ahead.
And do you guys have candy or prizes included in that for the game booths for the kids?
We'll see how much of the budget we have left and if we have to pay the park fee or not. That'll give us an idea. It's for all the expenses for National Night Out.
It's an allocation. It's not actually spending it right this minute. We're going to allocate it.
Yeah, but we have to spend it. And
Yeah.
we have to spend it, Nina, by the end of next week.
By the end of next week, Mamma Mia.
We'll have to
Okay.
talk about it offline. What I'm saying, what
All right,
Sandy's trying
yeah.
to tell you is we may have to
Okay.
do this money in the next fiscal year. If there's some of it we can do this year, we should.
Yeah,
hear
actually, I'm sorry, Ed, you know the cutoff to spend, isn't it? Is it June 20th or?
Yeah, we went over it earlier. 6/20 is the last day to pay by credit card. And I talked with Karen earlier, guys, that we are looking at, non-perishable items, could include candy, could include toys,
Right.
could include, any of the
Banners.
non-perishable food items, water, soda, those types of things that we would use,
And the banners.
and the banners.
Yeah. Okay, let's go ahead and call for the vote.
Okay, Lydia Grant,
Yes.
Lala Rowe,
Yes.
Karen Purdue,
Yes.
Ed Babakanian,
Yes.
Carol Hutchinson is yes, Lenny Freeman,
Yes.
Katie Travers,
No,
Trevor Schmidt. Trevor?
Yes.
Claire Gordon,
Yes.
John Van Gunten,
Yes.
Karen Moran,
Yes.
Belinda Woodruff is absent, Cheryl Schmidt,
Yes.
Michelle Wadler is absent. I'm sorry, Shirley Kim is absent. Chris Rowe,
Yes.
Nina Royal,
Yes.
Cindy Claycorn,
Yes.
Mark Siegel.
Yes.
Thank you. $15 yes, 1 no, and 3 absent. There you
Thank
go.
you. Okay, so what I'd like to do now is move to general public comment because we have a lot of people I think have been waiting for public comment. And then we're gonna adjourn this meeting. We'll come back to it, but we need to do the special meeting. So I see some hands raised. Mark Dutton, go ahead. We'll give everybody 2 minutes. John, if you could do the time.
Hi, could you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, hello, everybody. Okay, I just want to make a comment about this outreach thing. We all have, this is a democracy, right? I mean, and we all have a certain amount of responsibility. And that includes every citizen, resident, municipal government leader, et cetera. We all have to work towards the same goal. We all have to try to make that little extra effort to be objective and respectful and, allow the possibility that we might be wrong about some things, about some judgments, about people, et cetera, et cetera. I've been dealing with that with the Whiteman Airport, for example. we've been trying to fight for keeping that open with its youth programs and its emergency services, et cetera, et cetera. And there's just, there's a lot of bad actors that call in, and it just feels very disruptive in the meeting. So I'm not gonna get into details of that. Let's just all try and approach these things with these meetings with an objective, open mind and mutual respect. It feels like it might be getting a little bit better, but this whole thing about expecting volunteers on a neighborhood council to outreach like we're all children. When I moved here, I just looked up the neighborhood council and I went to meetings and I started to learn about it and meet people and meet community members, et cetera. We all have some responsibility. Let's not assume that everybody has to just have their hand held through every little process here. And as far as, I don't know. I mean, that's it. I don't want to, sound like the old man screaming, get off my lawn, but just, if we could all just try to make a little bit more effort. I feel like I'm hearing a lot of effort from the neighborhood council. And sometimes we're just, it's met with cynicism. And I understand it. I understand we all are cynical with each other, but this is not the Hatfields and McCoys, guys. This is just our little community. Let's try to work. Let's just all meet for coffee or something, or go play softball or something.
Time is up here.
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark. Alyssa Avalos, go ahead.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for everything that you guys do. I want to start off by saying that. I was born and raised here in District 7. And like you guys, this is my home. And I see the desperation and the need for change in our city government. And I want to be that change. And I want to bring back communication, common sense, common ground, bring that back, because I believe that we all want the same thing at the end of the day. And if we work together, we could accomplish so much. And let's show other communities, other districts, how we do it here, working together. I want to bring back transparency, communication. If there's going to be something going up in your community, you should be notified. I will be at your neighborhood council meetings. And I just want to thank you guys for everything that you guys are going through. And I don't think it's okay when people come on here and tear you guys apart when all you guys want to do is work together and better your community. And I thank you and I apologize for what you guys are going through. But when I win, we're going to bring back common sense and common ground, working together. I believe we can do this. Thank you so much. And please remember to vote June 7, 2022 for Elisa Avalos. Thank you.
Thank you. Don Jenkins, go ahead, please.
Good evening, everyone. This is Dawn Jenkins representing McGroarty Arts Center. We're actually coming back to life. We are having our ceramic show that happens every June. This year it will still be virtual for a reception on June 4th in the evening. Please check our website. We have a brand new website for McGroarty Arts Center, our community arts center, historic McGroarty. We also have finally gotten approval to have in-person classes starting July 18th. In preparation for that, there's going to be an event on June 18th from 1 to 5 on a Saturday, and that event will include art and music workshops, ceramics, drawing, plein air, yoga, and everything that we can showcase so the community knows what classes we are going to be offering at McGroarty Arts Center. We are looking forward to having events again at the Arts Center, and so grateful for Monica Rodriguez helping to get the funding to replace and repair our driveway and the tree trimming we need to have those events in the upper parking lot. All of you who have attended, we thank you for attending. You all know that there's been a hazard in that upper parking lot for quite a few people when they're walking around. The asphalt's cracked. So we are so grateful to have that to look forward to, but we look forward mostly to seeing our community returning to McGroarty Arts Center on July 18th for classes, for June 18th for that workshop, and especially also our Cup Show 2022 on June 4th. Thank you, wonderful members of the board, for all your service to our community. We're so grateful to all that you do. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Carolyn Menjivar.
Good evening, Sunland-Tujunga. My name is Caroline Menjivar, and I'm coming to you as a candidate for State Senate District 20. It's a brand new district, newly redrawn. So your previous senator, Portantino, is no longer overseeing this area. You're redistricting this new district that goes as west as Canoga Park, east as City of Burbank. I'm coming to you with close to 15 years of experience. I am a Marine Corps veteran that served for 7.5 years down in Miramar. I've worked as an EMT in this very community for 5 years, transporting patients to and from probably every single hospital you can think of. I've seen firsthand how our elderly are treated at our skilled nursing facility due to lack of accountability. I've seen firsthand how we are wasting our taxpayer money by just arresting people with mental illnesses, putting them on a 5150 hold, and then putting them back on the street 3 days later. That's not a good way of utilizing our funds. I want to go up to Sacramento to create a robust mental health system that has teams on the ground addressing the direct needs of individuals who you see running in front of vehicles, suffering from psychiatric illnesses, and are sometimes nude. I've worked in local government for both Mayor Eric Garcetti and Councilwoman Nuri Martinez. I was your previous East Valley area representative. I've worked closely with neighborhood councils, and I've always prided myself in attending these organizations, these meetings, because I think it's important to maintain those relationships with people who are really, really invested with change in their communities. I've been a domestic violence therapist. I'm a social worker. I went to UCLA to get my master's in social welfare. I've served victims and survivors in this very district. I've ridden alongside LAPD to 911 calls to these types of calls and seen again firsthand experience. I now work in this community as a director at MEND, which is a nonprofit in Pacoima, continue to give back. All this to say is that I am not a candidate coming to you and saying, I want to do stuff now. I've been doing it for close to 15 years of my young adulthood. I've always yearned to serve. I was a fire explorer. That was originally what I was trying to be. I was in the Police Academy Magnet at Reseda High. I'm a police explorer, Marine Corps veteran, worked as an EMT. I've always worn a uniform to serve, and I will continue to serve this community up in Sacramento. I'd hope you consider voting for me. Voting is happening now. You have until June 7th. If you'd like to learn more, please.
Time is up, please. Time is up.
Thank you. Thank you, Carolyn. Okay, so before we take board comments, I just want to remind the board, I need you to stay here. As soon as this meeting is adjourned, we have a special meeting item we have to vote on. So, and also because I see Cressy is here, I want to let her know that we will not be voting on the item tonight for the Rotary. The city attorneys asked us to wait. They're trying to help us get the paperwork that need things taken care of so that we can get this to go through. So I'm just letting you know so you don't wait. Okay, Lala, go ahead.
I am speaking on behalf of Richard Stewart, who was not able to be here tonight, but the mission of Sunland-Tujunga Scientology Center is going to be having a ribbon cutting on their new space, which is at 9913 Commerce Avenue in Tujunga. And that will be on Saturday, May 21st at 3:30 p.m. There will be music, entertainment, some community leaders, several community leaders will be speaking, including our own Lydia Grant. There'll be refreshments, and you are all invited to attend. Thank you.
Thank you. Mark Siegel, go ahead.
Hi, I just want to let everybody know that I'm setting up new classes for ham radio to teach ham radio so that people can get their license. And people who are especially interested in emergency response, like using their ham radios because it works very well in a very broad spectrum of areas. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to adjourn this regular board meeting at 9:44 p.m. Thank you guys so much. And I think we covered everything we needed to except for the council files, which we've already stayed so late and we still have another item. I don't know. I don't know. We can come back to them if you'd like. We're just adjourning this meeting right now so that we can address the special meeting. We could come back and address some of those if you'd like. I'll ask when we're done at the special meeting. So the special meeting, Carol, can you put that agenda item up? It was for the McGroarty Art Center. Okay. Thank you. So I adjourned the meeting, the board meeting at 9:44, which we may go back to. I'm moving into the special meeting. I'm calling the meeting to order at 9:44. Let's call it 9:45 just so it doesn't look confusing. And then roll call for the special meeting, Carol.
Okay. Lydia Grant,
Yes.
Lala Rowe,
Here.
Karen Purdue,
Here.
Ed Babakanian,
Here.
Carol Hutchinson is here, Lenny Freeman,
Physically here.
KT Travers,
Here.
Trevor Schmidt,
Here.
Claire Gordon,
Here.
Don Van Gunten,
Here.
Karen Moran,
Here.
Belinda Woodruff, absent. Cheryl Smith,
Here.
Michelle Wadler, absent. Shirley Kim, absent. Chris Rowe,
Here.
Nina Royal. Nina,
Present.
thank you. Cindy Claycorn,
Present.
Mark Siegel,
Yeah.
there you go.
You sure?
Okay, thank you. We do have quorum. Item number 3 is motion to file a community impact statement recommendation from the STNC Start Committee regarding a motion before the Los Angeles City Council to transfer $68,031 from District 7's portion of the neighborhood service enhancements for the purpose of repairing the McGroarty Art Center's parking lot facilities. Do I have a motion?
I move. This is Lala.
Thank you, Lala. Do I have a
Mark
second?
second.
Mark has a second. So Lala is the motion maker. Mark is a second. Do we have any, let me see is Joe DeCenso still here? No? Okay. Are there any, Don?
Sorry, Joe DeCenzo is still here.
Oh, okay, great. Did you want to speak to this item, or Don?
Oh, I am happy to just sort of echo the sentiments of the committee. We voted unanimously once we learned that this motion was before City Council. And we just find that to continue the preservation of this historic site that is regularly open to the public as a gathering place and a place for young minds and people who have come for furthering their arts education. It's well worth the expenditure. And we certainly hope that the neighborhood council feels the same.
Thank you. Thank you. Dawn, did you also want to comment?
Well, thank you, Lydia. The only thing I would say is that I have been hearing complaints for years about the parking lot and how so many people of all ages come there. We do have accessibility there, but if you are going up and down that ramp from the top of the building all the way through the parking lot and the pavement is cracked, it is a hazard for people, especially on our huge events where you're not really seeing the ground at night, like the Burger Beer and Band or at our Chili Bowl. You have booths up everywhere. It's very easy to miss your step, and we don't want people getting injured. So it's a benefit to the community, since we do have huge events there, that we welcome people of every age and color and group. Everybody comes to McGroarty. They're always welcomed, that we make this the safest place for them to visit. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so we have a motion, we have a second. do we have any comments from the community members? If so, raise your hand. Not seeing any, we'll go to the board. I don't see any hands raised. Okay, Carol, let's go ahead and call for the vote.
Okay. Lydia Grant,
Yes.
Lola Rowe,
Yes.
Karen Purdue,
Yes.
Ed Babakanian,
Yes.
Carol Hutchinson is yes, Lenny Freeman. Lenny? Okay, maybe we lost Lenny. KT Travers,
Yes.
Trevor
Yes,
Schmidt.
Lenny. Yes.
Thank you. Trevor Schmidt,
Yes.
Claire Gordon,
Yes.
John Van Gunten,
Yes.
Karen Moran,
Yes.
Belinda Woodruff absent, Cheryl Smith,
Yes.
Michelle Wadler absent, Shirley Kim absent, Chris Rowe,
Yes.
Nina Royal,
Yes.
Cindy Claycorn,
Yes.
Mark Siegel.
Yes.
Okay, 16 yes and 3 absent.
Thank you very much. It passes. So number 4 was motion to approve a letter to the Los Angeles City Council regarding in-person meetings at City Hall, that the STNC objects to the inadequate notice and request that hybrid meetings be held to accommodate not only public comment, but also neighborhood councils presenting community impact statements at all LA City Council committee and commission meetings. Do we have that letter already, Carol?
I didn't see one.
That is the letter.
Okay, so that's just the statement that we're putting in the letter. Cindy,
Correct.
did you want to explain it?
The city council opened on May 4th with in-person meetings, but they restrict persons from being able to attend. And you cannot submit any public comments unless you are present in the city council. So it's very restrictive. It's not open to everyone, and that is wrong. We need our city council to be open for all.
So what was the conversation that we want it to be hybrid so that people can participate through their computers and or phone?
That's correct.
Yeah, because they will not let you into the city hall building unless you have been vaccinated. And that is keeping a lot of people out, which is one of the main reasons why I'm really concerned about going to in-person meetings, because if we don't get that hybrid system put into place, they will force us to do the same thing. And I would rather not meet if we have to leave community members out of our meetings. So do we have a motion for this?
Okay, this is Carol. I'll make the motion that we write a letter to City Hall regarding all these items that we just covered.
Okay, thank you. Who was the second? I'm sorry.
I'll second.
Cindy
Thank you.
seconded. Okay, are there any comments from the community? If so, please raise your hand. I do not see any comments from the community. We'll go back to the board. Are there any board member comments for this?
I have
Carol?
one.
Yes. Go ahead.
Yes, I recently attended it was supposed to be a workshop for doing CISs. And it was quite interesting in that a lot of it wasn't about the CISs, and Nuri was there, Martinez, and she discussed this and how that she felt there would be better engagement having like a hybrid meeting, because people come home from work and they have their kids to feed and they don't really feel like getting dressed and going out. And so, she's really felt like this should be an option that they're able to call in. Also, I just don't feel like we should be the checking IDs. I don't want to be the person at the door checking IDs. And so I think we really need to strive for these meetings, the hybrid meetings. So anyway, but I just thought it was interesting. Nuri was all for it. And especially she said that there had been violence toward her, I guess, that protesters had showed up at her house and she felt threatened. So she just felt safer doing the distance meetings. So I kind of agreed with her there too.
Thank you, Carol. Okay, I don't see any other hands up. Let's go ahead and call for the vote.
Okay. Lydia Grant,
Yes.
Lala Rowe,
Yes.
Karen Purdue,
Yes.
Ed Babakanian,
Yes.
Carol Hutchinson is yes, Lenny Freeman,
Yes.
KT Travers,
Yes.
Trevor Schmidt,
Yes.
Claire Gordon,
Yes.
John Van Gunten,
Yes.
Karen Moran,
Yes.
Linda Woodruff absent, Cheryl Smith,
Yes.
Michelle Wadler absent, Shirley Kim absent, Chris Rowe,
Yes.
Nina Royal,
Yes.
Cindy Claycorn,
Yes.
Mark Siegel.
Yes.
Thank you. So 16 yes and 3 no, or 3 absent, I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I think there's one more item we should go back to the previous agenda to do, and that would be the item on the trainings for done.
Lydia, okay, never mind, never mind.
Yeah, so we did that.
To
So
adjourn the
I'd like,
You need to adjourn the special
I'm
meeting.
going to. So I would like to adjourn this meeting and reopen the general board meeting. We can pass on 2 of the CISs. We can address those next time. But the one I wanted to address is, Carol, if you could put up the one item D, which is the council file 20-0990. The reason I want to push this one is because the neighborhood councils are trying to get to be heard on this before the city council votes on it. And at least make our statements be heard. So it states here, motion to file a CIS against unless amended on council file 20-0990 regarding mandatory diversity, equity, and inclusion training and anti-bias training for all members of Los Angeles neighborhood councils, including implementation of Mayor's Executive Order 27 regarding racial equity in city government plans at the neighbor council level and including gender expressions and gender in DUNS report. There is no issue whatsoever about neighborhood councils doing the mandatory diversity, equity, and inclusion trainings. Nothing. This has nothing to do with that. What has happened is the department manager has requested from city council that she be allowed to choose every mandatory training that the neighborhood council should have, and she has asked for that power through the city council. So she put it under this particular heading to make it sound like anybody who stood up to her was being a racist or was not being inclusive, which in fact was a little stunt that was pulled and
I'll stick
completely
around the
inappropriate.
meeting for a while and raise my hand if they sound like they're going to adjourn.
So hold on one moment, please. And so if you read our section of it, it is discussion and possible action instructing the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment in consultation with collaboration with Civil and Human Rights and Equity Department to report back to the city with a plan to implement mandatory diversity, equity, and inclusion training and anti-bias training for all members of the Los Angeles neighborhood councils. Like I said, this is what they called it, but this is not what the issue is. And so the Sunland-Tujunga Neighborhood Council is against this item for the following reason. Now listen to the reason specific to what it says. An unelected bureaucrat, done general manager, should not have full control over the elected officials of the neighborhood council system. Council members are elected by the people of their community to be the voice of their community. They did not vote for the general manager. The neighborhood councils were created to be self-governing bodies, and there should be no actions taken by the general manager regarding the NCs without neighborhood council input. That is the only stand we're taking on this, is that the DUN manager should not be able to make decisions without neighborhood council input. That is the only issue that we are addressing here. So do I have a motion?
No,
Me.
did we adjourn the original meeting, the last meeting, or?
Yes, we did.
We did?
Yeah. So I'll give you a time. Hold on.
Was
We adjourned the
9?
meeting at 9:56.
56. So we re-adjourned at 9:57.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm sorry. I should have stated that for the record. I apologize.
I make
Okay.
that motion.
Okay, Carol made the motion. Do I have a second?
That's Nina.
Nina.
I'm sorry, Nina.
I'll second.
Karen seconds.
I
Okay.
wholeheartedly believe this.
Okay, so raise your hand if you have a comment. I'm going to go to the community first. Are there any community members that would like to raise their hand and comment on this item? I see a hand. Mark Dutton. Go ahead, Mark.
Hi again. Yes, I agree with your assessment of that move by Dunn. And I get a little nervous adding starting to feel like more bureaucracy between the neighborhood council and the city council, as if there's not enough already. So I agree with you and I support that. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so moving back to the board members, Claire, your hand is raised. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah, the fine-tuned objection that you have to this doesn't really make sense to me. And I was wanting to make a statement more in regards to the to just anti-bias and DEI training in general. I feel like this is really important, and this actually goes back to what we talked about earlier in the meeting with the complaints that have been filed against us. And I think that for the purpose of appearing to be embracing this, I don't feel like this is serving that. And so I just feel like.
So I'd like to ask you a question. What in the statement, in the bottom paragraph, is
this whole statement just feels like reactionary to me, and I don't really see the purpose of having a conversation about this. I don't really, in this format, I don't really feel like that's probably not really protocol. You know, I should just be able to sort of make my statement, you know, just like pretty much everything else I object to. 80% of the people on the board are going to vote in favor of it anyway. And, you know, I believe in that dissenting voices actually have a really important role to play in this setting. And so I appreciate that you're trying to establish autonomy. I just feel like this particular way of doing it and this particular issue is not the way to do it. So you can disagree with me all you want. It is after 10, so let's just keep in mind that the more we talk about it, the longer we have to stay here. And I don't know about you, but I'm pretty tired.
Okay, that's fine. I was trying to get a clarification to understand what you were trying to say, but we'll go ahead and move on. So Carol, go ahead.
No, I mean, I agree that this is just voting away or Raquel trying to take over authority over the board members. Treat us like children, that we will no longer have any sort of autonomy, that we will no longer be able to represent our communities. We will have to do as we're told by whatever Raquel comes up with. Now, I realize that, you know, the training and whatever, yes, we have to do trainings, but for her to unilaterally just come in and tell us what we will do and that we don't have any choice or any say in the matter makes a total mockery of the neighborhood council system. And I just really object to this. And she's trying to sneak it under with oh, we're making sure we're getting the anti-bias training, so everybody should agree with me or you're racist. That's not true. We are keeping the neighborhood councils autonomous, keeping them independent and not putting an unelected bureaucrat in charge of the neighborhood councils. I mean, it's just this slippery slope. I mean, it's just, we're looking at the destruction of the neighborhood council system. So anyway, that's my comment.
Thank you. Nina Royal, go ahead.
Yes, they need to go back and look at the charter as to what the neighborhood councils are, why they were established, because they're totally ignoring it. They have their own agenda and it's not right. Like Carol said, they're taking our autonomy away from us, and they don't have the right to do that. If they go back and they read the charter, they'll find out that they're overstepping their boundaries. It's not for them to police us. I can understand looking out after money and how it's being spent, but not to tell us what to think and what to do. That neighborhood councils were established because of the fact that we were going to secede from the city of LA because they were strangling us. And the reason why they gave us the neighborhood council is to give us our own voice, and they're taking it away. They don't have a right to dictate everything to us. I'm very much in favor of this letter to them. I hope that it passes. Thank you.
Lenny, go ahead.
Yeah, as far as this diversity and inclusiveness training, I took the anti-bias training. I don't know if it was mandatory or not, but I took it. I didn't want to take it, but you know, I went through it, and I really studied it and watched it. And I got to tell you, it changed my viewpoint with an end result of a better understanding of, you know, everything at large. So, you know, if it's made an optional training, I'll go ahead and take it, you know, just for that end result. But they cannot go against the charter. An appointed bureaucrat cannot override an elected authority. And this is a power grab. And once you get power, I've been watching this lately, once a person gets power, they can't seem to let go of it. It's like a drug, and they want more of it. And that's what we're seeing at all levels of government, including here. So let's stick with the charter and not diverse from it. That's it.
Okay.
I'm done.
Thank you. Lala, go ahead.
Thank you. I just wanted to say that this really isn't about diversity or anti-bias, because we already have anti-bias training. This is simply that we would like to be consulted and have some ability to input, just like we do on any city actions, before we have new trainings, mandatory trainings, which may or may not be useful, we don't know. And done should, rather than giving us orders, they're established to empower us, to help us. And I'd like to see some of that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well said.
Kathleen Travers, go ahead.
I think that if this community impact statement cited the portion of excuse me, what is it called?
I understand what you're saying. You're saying that if we could copy and paste the statement where she's asking or trying to get
and say that that there is nothing about the rest of it that we object to at all, but and just take that specific language and say, if you remove this section from the council file projected motion, we will be in support of it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, and John Van Gunten.
I only wanted to say something that we really already have very robust DEI training in place. I took it, I found it broadening. I scored well on the anti-bias test that I took at the end of it. And so I have to then conclude, as I think any 60s, 70s liberal would conclude, that if there's additional enforcement on this, there must be some hidden time bombs. There must be some poison pills in here. You're enforcing a law that already exists. And so you found the poison pills, and we're ready to excise that. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I think that is everybody. Carol, would you call for the vote? Oh, I'm sorry, Karen Moran has her hand up now. Karen, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I don't think I put my hand up. If so, accidentally. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, let's call for the vote.
Okay, Lydia Grant,
Yes.
Lala Rowe,
Yes.
Karen Purdue,
Yes.
Ed Babakanian,
Yes.
Carol Hutchinson is yes, Lenny Freeman,
Yes.
KT Travers,
Yes.
Trevor Schmidt,
Yes.
Claire Gordon,
No.
John Van Gunten,
Yes.
Karen Moran,
Yes.
Belinda Woodruff, absent, Cheryl Smith,
Yes.
Michelle Wadler, absent, Shirley Kim, absent, Chris Rowe,
Yes.
Nina Royal,
Yes.
Cindy Claycorn,
Yes.
Mark Siegel.
Oh, did you hear my yes?
No, okay, thank you. You said yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, it looks like 15 yes, 1 no, and 3 absent.
Okay, thank you guys very much. I would say without further ado, we'll adjourn the meeting at 10:09. Oh, Dawn has her hand up. Hold on. Go ahead, Dawn.
I'm sorry, we were not quite clear on whether you guys approved Joanna Gates joining the STAR committee. Is it appropriate for me to ask?
Absolutely, we did approve it.
Oh, yay! Thank you very much. Have a wonderful month. See
You
you.
too.
Goodness,
Thank you,
Blessings
guys.
to all of you. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you,
good
Dawn.
night.
goodness, shut up.
What do
Are
you
we
think?
done here?
Yes, we're done.
All
I
right,
just what time did we adjourn?
all right, let's go,
Okay,
Brandon.
10:10.
10:09, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Good night.
Thank
Good
you
night.
very much.